Okay, guys, I'm going to start a new game for this channel, all right? Every time we have a stream here, or you know what, not even this channel specifically, anytime I'm on a stream, whether it's here, 01, or foil variant, I want everybody to guess what Microsoft, like what Windows puts my microphone to whenever it wants to do that, right? Because as you all know, still in the throes of this weird issue with my Windows operating system where it randomly decides it wants to adjust the what do you call it, like the volume on my microphone. So we always start, you guys know this, I mean, Zero, Pong, Andrew, you know, my regulars in here, you guys know that there have been a lot of streams where I come in and all of a sudden we're very, 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 very quiet for like no reason. So bit low, but you're audible. Yeah, that is actually because I've got to boost it up here on the whatchamacallit, on the OBS end. So there. Now we should be better, but yeah, I've told this to Andrew over the last couple days. Every time lately I open up my mic, it's not even just like, you know, normally I keep it at 98, 100, whatever. And instead of dropping it to something like 80 or 70, it's dropping me to like 40. So tonight when I opened up, when I started everything and I started talking and when I was adjusting all the settings, 53. Who even, like, what, who can even be heard at 53, right? Like I genuinely don't know what to do with that level. But that is beside the point. It is Friday night. You are here. I am here. My name is Mav. My name is also Spencer. Doesn't matter how you know me. All that matters is that you are here for another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly. Guys, always a pleasure to be hanging out with every single one of you. You know why we have this show on Fridays. We spend the entire week, you know, trudging through the worst crap in all of our, you know, entertainment, in all of our fandoms, and just everything we love. But weekends should be enjoyable, right? And the world's not entirely awful. So come hang out here. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's have fun instead of just, you know, decrying and dooming and glooming everything. So welcome. Good, the Mav, the Ugly. Clearly I'm still working out an opening spiel for that, but we'll get there eventually. It's only been like, what, Dozer, 57 episodes and a bazillion and 4 episodes over on Bounding into Comics. Yeah, no, I'm still very much an amateur at this, guys. I have no experience with this. But aside from my stupid sarcasm, I am super happy to see you all tonight. I'm so happy to be able to hang out with each and every one of you. It's still sort of a slow period here in the realm of news and developments and stuff. We are obviously still really in the, what do you want to call it? Like I don't want to call it the election cycle, but the post-inauguration haze, right? Like everybody right now, like they are with any president, whether it's Obama or Biden or Trump the first time, you know, everybody's going to be zoned in on what the new president's doing for like a week or two. So hopefully next week we'll get a lot more, you know, explosive things to talk about. Or actually, ideally we don't want that because, you know, no news is good news. And that means that nothing is blowing up in the things we love. But I need some stuff to come out because Bounding into Comics, that's kind of our lifeblood. Not that we're doing bad. I want to be able to be like, oh, here's a story that's going to blow everybody away. You know what I mean? But that isn't to say we are at a lack, or we are for a lack of topics, as you guys might have seen from either the thumbnail or the title of the stream. Multiversus will be the main topic du jour because that game is officially dead. To the surprise of not really anyone, I think, who actually played that game. I've talked about it a few times here, foil variant. I know Andrew and I had a pretty good talk about it on one of our episodes, but we'll get into it. It was not a good game. Like just straight up, it wasn't. It obviously it has some things going for it, like all things do, right? We want to be intellectually honest here, so I always try to look for good things, even in things that I absolutely despise, right? Like. For example, I hate that first Suicide Squad movie. Like, with a passion. It is the most anti-art, anti-movie thing ever. But I can't deny that Margot Robbie is a great Harley Quinn, right? Like, I really like her as Harley Quinn. And I also like, what's his name? Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. They didn't get enough to do, and their characters were kind of handled a little poorly, but the general casting was good. But my point to that is, we should always be trying to look for the positives that when we can, you know, we need to be able to compliment the things we like and learn the language of talking about things in that light, in addition to in addition to criticizing things, right? Because we got to be constructive. We want to help people build it back up. And I gave this example last week, but if you're dealing with somebody like a kid or you guys might have seen that pause at the beginning. That's because my first example was going to be like a picky girlfriend, because that's what I've had most when I've been dating. When I have not been single, I've run into that a lot. But if you go to a kid and or a picky girlfriend, you're like, "What do you want for dinner?" And they go, "I don't know." And you go, "Okay, do you want like tacos?" "No, I don't like tacos." "Okay, do you want a burger?" "No, I don't want a burger." "Okay, do you want chicken?" "No, I don't want a chicken." "Well, what do you want?" "I just want good food. I want you to give me good food." "Okay, well, can you help me out here at all?" Eventually, you just go, "Okay, fine. Whatever. I'm going to cook my food. And if you want to have some of it, you can have some of it." But if that person goes, "Oh, I don't want tacos." "Okay, do you want, what do you want?" "I'm feeling something, like protein heavy, maybe with some, give some feedback, and it makes everything way better. I mean, here's Mav's dating corner. This is just a general good tip for all of you out there. So, and I highlight it because it's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, and I feel like it'll be good for everybody out there, male, female, whatever. If you're in a relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic, and somebody, asks you, what do you want to do today? What do you want to eat tonight? What do you want to watch? Asks you an opinion question. Even if you genuinely feel like, I really don't care, it's always always try to give at least 3 options, right? Like things that you might want to do. I was really, 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 really bad about this a couple years ago, where my girlfriend would ask me, "What do you want to eat? What do you want to watch?" And I genuinely was cool with whatever we did. But that, annoyed her because she's looking for input. She's trying to engage. She's trying to, work with me, and I'm just throwing up a brick wall. So to help your relationships, if somebody always ever asks you, what do you want to do? Try to, offer at least 3 indicators of something you would want to do, or at least hints. Not always. Sometimes you will genuinely be like, "I really don't know what I want to do," or "I really, really don't care." And that's fine. But always try to help the other person out, But I don't even know how we got on that tangent. We got there though. But let's get into tonight's show. As always, this is a show where I talk to you guys, and you guys, I can't have the show without you. So whatever you guys want to talk about, that'll probably be the topic of discussion. You guys know this if you're a regular, because one person will drop one thing in the chat, and we'll be talking about that for an hour and a half, right? So with that said, enough weirdo dating. You don't need dating advice from the guy who's still terminally single, right? So let's get on with the show. Starting as always, with a drink of the thing. I wanted my water because I needed to be hydrated. I don't know why I grabbed my sparkling drink there. But yes, as always, well, let's kick off the show. Let's say hello to everybody who is already here in the chat with us tonight, starting with our boy Timon. Oh, where's the Stream Ninja comments? Something. Why does it always dip them down there? Do I have to Look at this. Look at this. Another boomer moment, but this one's not on me. I will not take this one. You know what I mean? I made sure everything was working before the show started, and now none of it is. And isn't that just the best feeling ever, guys? So that the fact that I can't highlight you all and tell people what we're talking about. Let's see. Maybe I need to change the. Maybe if I change the dimensions there, it'll bring it up. Let's see. No, what the heck? I know we saw all of the comments a second ago on the other page. I don't know why this one all of a sudden, or on the other, whatchamacallit. If we go, watch, check this. If we go here, I can highlight anything, right? So or I was highlighting, you all saw, I know you all saw it. You were all there, okay? You were all there when we were, starting off the show, and I had my comment up there, and I was highlighting everybody when we were trying to come on. Genuinely don't know what's going on now. Oh, I think we might be back. Let's see. It's like an integral part of the show. Oh, well, now it's being weird. Let's see. Shrink it a little bit, maybe. Shrinkage in the pool, if you will. Let's see. And now we go back to the main overlay because face. All right, we're at least back. At least we can see comments again. I just got to make them a little bigger. But we will start off with our boy, Timon, who was the first one here. Timon says, I'm traveling with my family. Won't be here. Have a nice stream. Timon, we're definitely going to miss you. This will be the second stream in a row that you missed. I saw your comment last week after we ended last week's stream, and I saw you were busy and you couldn't make it, so you were catching up. But we definitely missed you. We'll miss you tonight. We even shouted you out at last week's episode. All of us were like, where the heck's Timon? Oh yeah, where's Timon? We haven't heard from him today. So have a safe time, buddy, and have a good time, because you're obviously with family. And we will see and talk to you very, very soon. Sakura is here, says, hello, Spencer, give me a shout out for Tropic I want to share. Do you mean topic? Because if you mean topic, then yes, a lot of the, if we manage to get to our Power Rangers discussion later on, which we probably will, it's not like we're pressed for topics, but a lot of the Power Ranger stuff is going to come from Sakura Mita, who's been sharing it in our Kabuto Studios Discord, which you guys can find a link to below in the description. Come hang out with me, Sakura, pretty much everybody who is a regular here in the chat, and also, the big gunners, me and Andrew, right? Like, come hang out with the hosts of Foil Variant. But that link is down there if you are interested. As always, only open for about 6 hours so as to limit bots or spam or people just trying to do like gay ops or whatever. So yes, lots of Power Ranger stuff coming from Sakura Mita, and also glad to see you, buddy. We have Andrew, speaking of, saying gay. Of course, where do you think you are, Dr. Cox? Yes, guys, shout out to Andrew, my boy. Sorry that we couldn't make Foil Variant last night, guys. Andrew was super, super slammed. The Rippaverse just launched their newest series, The Great War of Separation. Go check that out. Go pre-order it. But given that they're a small company and their releases are big and there's lots of interest all the time, it's normally an all-hands-on-deck situation over at the Rippaverse. So Andrew's just been busy with that. We talked last night. He was a little exhausted, and I said, you know what? Screw it. We'll call it, right? Future note that I'll also try to reiterate on Foil Variant, but I'm also going to say it here because I know a lot of you guys who watch me also watch us over there on Foil Variant. Going forward, like, Andrew and I we take Foil Variant really seriously, and ideally we would love it to blow up and become a really big thing and put our attentions to it. Sometimes, because we're not there yet where we can sort of dedicate all of our attentions because we have real jobs, sometimes things come up. So we want to be really consistent. We wish we could make it every week, but sometimes, responsibilities take precedence. However, that said, I tested it out last night. I didn't get enough responses before the poll closed, but I'm considering, what would you guys think? And you can either let me know in a DM or later down the line or just in the chat, whatever. What would you guys think about if Andrew couldn't, make a show, or theoretically if I couldn't make a show? And Andrew, don't worry, I would send you all the layouts and everything. You would have everything, don't worry. But if one of us can't make it, would you guys be interested in any sort of alternate stream for Foil Variant? The one I proposed last night was I will come on, I will play Marvel Rivals, and I'll talk, more comic book centric stuff about it. I really wanted to do that, but there was not enough interest, so I was like, I'm going to spend that time doing other stuff. So if you guys have, if that sounds like it would be fun to you guys in place of a proper Foil Variant show, when that occurs, let us know. We want to, deliver for you guys. We want you guys to have fun as much as we have fun. On that note, because I didn't hang out with Andrew this week, we've been so busy, I haven't gotten around to reading I read one book this week. I read my Peach Momoko Ultimate X-Men. And not even necessarily because it was, Ultimate X-Men and Peach, but because I saw people online discussing that it was or there were moments in the issue that connect it to the rest of the Ultimate Universe. And so I was like, well, I gotta see that. So I cracked it open. Really good issue as always, but I have not gotten through my stack, which also is kind of low. That was another reason Andrew and I called it last night. There's only like 4 or 5 books really. It very, very, very weird week for comic books. But we're here now. Great War of Separation is available to pre-order. I'll bring it up in a little bit, probably near the end of the show. I'll bring up the main website and everything. Go grab it. We also have Corey. What's up? Super gay. Exactly, Andrew. Take some notes. 2 things, buddy. 1, look at that haircut. Look at Corey with that fresh shave going on. I'm actually kind of a little bit jealous. My hair is starting to do the unruly thing. You guys, here's some Mavlore that you guys can all enjoy. You can tell my hair is getting long when this starts happening. When I start getting the Peter Parker sideburns and they start like wisping like out like that. Yeah, that's when you know it's like, oh, Mav's got to go get a haircut soon. But 1, looking fresh, my friend. 2, congratulations on making it through 2 straight weeks of work. I know that your work is pretty demanding and you go in really early. So it's got to be, that must have been exhausting, but I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you got through it. You know, go treat yourself. Go reward yourself for a job well done. But also, nice to see you, amigo. Check this out. Long time no see. We have Ravul Arvida. For one, or he says, Type Moon's Nasuverse is the ultimate multiverse. I genuinely cannot disagree with that. I have nothing to add to that, Ravul. I think you're completely right. Type Moon, the Fate stuff, like all of that multiverse probably does it the most right since like the 80s original Crisis comic books and all that. But aside from that, Ravul, hail to you. I know you also popped up in on 01 earlier this week. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. Maybe you've been in the Bounding chat, but so just so you guys know, when we do Bounding, Cider is the one producing everything. He's kind of highlighting all the chats and drawing my attention to stuff because I need to focus on engaging and thinking and, hosting and stuff. So maybe you've been there and I just didn't see you, but either way, when you popped up on Wednesday, I went, holy crap, it's Ravul. Nice to see you, buddy. Always, just glad to have you here. We have Zero. What's going on? As always, shout out to Zero, guys. These last 2 weeks, he's been super helpful for the show. And yes, I'm trying to blow up comments because if you're not writing an essay like I did, then it's going to look that tiny on the screen. But shout out to Zero. He's been really helpful these last 2 weeks because I've been going kind of like every Friday I've tagged him in the Discord and I go, what are we talking about? Like, what do I talk about this week, Zero? There's really nothing. Especially because you guys know me, I really, really cannot fucking stand any of the culture war stuff or any of the political stuff, especially when trying to engage in it in the online sphere, because all of that stuff has devolved into just shit flinging and attacking other people because you don't like them. And I think I talked about this last week, but we're in an era now, like firmly in an era where both sides, like left and right, are going, I want to do this to piss off the chuds. I'm going to do this to piss off the libs. And it's like, is this really, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like we went from this weird era of like, be the bigger person, always try to set a better example to, oh, if you're getting mud flung at you, go for it. Get the fuck down. Like, that's what you all should do. We should all be shit flinging and it's okay. And I'm just like, are we all fucking children? Like you political pundits, you anti-woke pundits, are we all children? What do you get out of this aside from like a go me? Like, I'm so cool. I got you libs. Like, I'm sick of it. So it's even harder for me to find topics to discuss. Cause like, for example, lots of stuff about Assassin's Creed happened or about Shadows. I don't want to talk about Shadows. I know Shadows is going to be bad. I know I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan. What's left to say other than Ubisoft's probably headed for the doghouse very, very, very soon. I'm so distracted, guy. I'm putting in what do you call it? Like a memoriam on this shirt for future streams. Cause clearly, however my lighting setup works, whenever I wear this pink shirt, which I love and it like works really well for me, but on the stream, the lighting and the colors and everything, it always makes me look really, really red and fleshed out. I look better now for some reason. I don't know what just happened, but yeah, there you go. So if it keeps distracting me, I am going to go, you know what, I'm just going to change my shirt right now. So 1 second. What are we wearing instead, chat? There we go. There we go. See, color is so much better. It doesn't like wash me out anymore. But yeah. So Zero's been really helpful in the fact that I've been like, what are we talking about? He's like, here's some things. And I go like, oh yeah, that. So shout out to Zero. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, buddy. Glad you're here. Let's see. I want to save this one. This is crazy to me, guys. I've been waiting to get to this because lovely Sherry is here. I'm genuinely blown away. I love lovely Sherry. Obviously, you guys know her if you are involved in sort of our sphere. She's always over with like the Dix division. She's always hanging out with the WDW Pro like channel and crew, Friday Night Tights and all them. So she's an amazing woman. She's actually like really funny with the memers and stuff. But I'm not only excited to have like a new viewer, but also it's Sherry. That's awesome. What's up, girl? Let's see. Ew, look at this. Look at that loser, that jobber. Hey, look at that. Wolf is making tacos, and I used that like taco example a second ago. All right, there's got to be a way where if the name or if the like comment gets long, it should be able to like break it, right? So where this is so annoying. And I wish I could bust out the new layout, because the new layout does fix a lot of this stuff, but it's not ready yet, and I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want you guys to like see it and be like, oh, that's really, really bad. Let's see. See, all I want is for, maybe, what if I do like, let's try like something really stupid. Don't worry, I'm not going to spend like a million years on this, guys. I just saw one thing I thought might be kind of funny to try if I can get the thing to pop up. Well, I can't. So, let's see. We're just going to do... Oh, look at that. I fixed it. Now things will warp proper, or like carriage return properly. So, yes, go make tacos. And I highlighted that specifically because we just talked about the taco example, and I thought that was funny. All right. Episode 59. Okay, we're making progress. We're almost there. We're getting there. If you guys don't remember, I'm saving the 52nd episode, the proper 52 episode, for when the layout is ready to roll out proper, because one, I wanted to use like episode 52 as my like milestone celebration instead of like 100 or 50 or whatever, because 52 is one of those numbers that I'm sort of obsessed with, because it's obviously like a big thematic thing in DC, but I read back in the day there was an amazing miniseries that was called 52. It spun out of Infinite Crisis out of DC, and it was a weekly book that bridged the gap between the end of Infinite Crisis and where the books were in current continuity, right? And it was, first off, one of the best series I've ever read. It was written by like the all-star comic book team. Like, I don't know how much better you get. A collective team of Keith Giffen, Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, Grant Morrison, and I think I'm forgetting one more person who was really integral to it. But let me 52 series. Let me just look it up real quick to make sure I got everybody. That's okay. Yeah, Keith Giffen, Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison, Greg Rucka, and this is in 2006 to 7. This is the literal fucking like peak of all of these guys' career. It maybe John's comes a little later with all the Rebirth stuff, but 52 is an amazing book. But more to the point, so I love the number because of that. But Grant Morrison wrote this like reflection on the book a couple years after, and he was talking about, 52 was like, of course we played with like the 52 card imagery and stuff and 52 weeks, but do you ever think about how like 52 is super like an integral number to everything we do? Like it's just sort of like this magic number, right? Like 51 cards in a deck, you'll have finite possibilities of hands you can draw. With 52, all of a sudden it becomes infinite. There are 52 weeks. Like, there's a lot more than that, but it's just sort of one of those cool numbers I've always been obsessed with. So we're saving the layout for 52 when that eventually happens. But yes, so episode 59, I'm glad somebody is keeping track. Let's see. Andrew says, I had literally no books this week, LOL. First week I didn't have to scramble to get through my stack. I think I only had I think Ultimate X-Men was really the only one where I was like, I gotta get that. There was X-Men number 10, which like I read or like I picked up because we're reading it, even though it's the mid-K book, but there's nothing to really write home about with that. There was also an issue of this mini-series that I'm liking out of Marvel right now called Hell Hunters. Here, I'll pull it up for you guys. And now we go over to the comic book layout. Oh, look at that. Everything works out sometimes. Let's boost this up, or at least center this for this page. There we go. So, and now I'll have to take them down because otherwise you guys can't see. So basically, this mini-series is being written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who you guys might know from his DC work. He did a lot of the Superman Action Comic stuff, a lot of the, during the Super Sons era. He didn't write Super Sons proper, but he helped with a lot of the writing around it, right? So, it's not Johnson. Wait, who, did he write Super Sons? No, Super Sons is Tomasi. That's what I thought. And I know if Tehillim was here, which I think he is, and I think I might have just passed over him saying hello, but Tehillim would have gotten me on that. But yeah, so this series is basically just, it's World War II, or how do I put this? It's basically like the World War II era Marvel heroes going around and killing a bunch of like demon vampire Nazis, right? And so you have like the team is that era's Sorcerer Supreme, that era's Ghost Rider, the Peggy Carter here, who you can see with the beret on. She's an American who's working with the French Resistance. Nick Fury is obviously there, leading sort of the entire unit. Let's see. Whoops, wrong button. So yeah, like there's Nick, good old Nicky. This issue introduces Logan, but yeah, it's not deep and it's not giving you a bunch of like, oh, this is intricate lore that you need to know for the rest of the Marvel universe, but it's fun. Especially because, so on one hand, World War II stories are a sort of nice reprieve from a lot of what we have to deal with nowadays, because World War II, last era where everything was like truly black and white, good and evil, right? So if I engage with like a World War II story, very rarely do I have to like activate my brain to think really hard about like, what is this commentary? What are we saying here? What do I, da 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 da. So there's that, and it's just kind of cool. Like this is the Sorcerer Supreme. This is like, what if Doctor Strange was in World War II? And you can see him with this rifle here that's not a gun, but what does he say it does? He says it does something really kind of neat. He's like, rifle. Yeah, there's that really, I love this like shot of the Ghost Rider. Like, oh, he's so cool. Whoops, I don't need the double page. But I guess I'm not gonna sit here and make you guys watch me, but yeah, this gun here is basically like it shoots concentrated like pain at the other person, and if the pain's too much, like it overwhelms them and it kills them. It's pretty cool. But long story short, this was, yeah, aside from the Psylocke book that Andrew brought up here, some shops got Psylocke number 3, but not mine. Yeah, so Psylocke Ultimate and then this were really the only things I was excited to read. Freaking Punk's in here. I also did pick up West Coast Avengers, but that one, it needs to really do something to keep me hooked, because I do like the idea, we've talked about this, I do like the idea of a religious Ultron cult as like an Ultron plan. I just don't really know how I feel about the sort of the rest of the writing around it. You know, it gets a little too goofy, a little too wink at the camera, and I'm just like, I don't know. So yeah, very very low week, but it was one of, so thank goodness it was a low week though, because that gave us the opportunity to take a break and let you get some rest during this great war of separation. Speaking of Punk says, I read Psylocke 3 today and it was good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that you've been enjoying it. I know Andrew and I have been enjoying it so far. It's not aside from West Coast Avengers, it's not like I'm not reading the book because I'm dreading it or putting it off. It's just sort of like without Andrew and foil variant, I don't have that fire to read it immediately. And knowing that Andrew hasn't read it yet, as gay as this sounds, like Andrew hasn't read it yet, so the main person I'm going to talk to about it, if they haven't gotten to it yet, I don't need to rush to get to it yet. So I'm still excited to read it. It has been really good these first 2 issues. Just haven't gotten around to this week's. Corey says, well, this pick is from a few years ago, and I always shave my head like every other day. Oh, you do? Oh, I guess you've always got a hat on in all your pictures. You know what it is, Corey? It's that in the other picture you had, I think you were sitting in like a truck, but you had your hat on, but then from far away, if it's not blown up on my screen, I think the headrests behind you give this illusion of like sideburns if you're not paying attention. So that's where I was going for. But no, you look good. Don't get me wrong. And then this is what I like to hear. Use the extra to pay off the truck today. Corey is killing it lately. I'm glad things are working out for you. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. I'm seeing all your wins and I'm just like, hell yeah, Corey. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Speak of the Tehillim and he shall appear. Shalom Tehillim. How's it going, amigo? Yeah. Zero says, I even said it before 01 started. Poor Mav having to handle topics he's not interested in. That's sort of one of the ways, like, how do I put this? At least, like, you're right, Zero. There's a lot of stuff that we do talk about on 01 that I'm not interested in. But one, I'm going to talk about it because it is important and it's of interest to our audience. And two, it at least makes it so, like, it's like a containment zone, right? Like, I get to put all of the stuff I don't want to talk about, we can talk about it on 01. All the stuff I do, all the stuff I enjoy, we have it here. And it helps keep the spirits of the discussion a little higher. So, yep, you guys got me. Tomasi was SS. Well, he wasn't SS, but he was on Super Sons. Mav is also always involved with the Dix division because gay. I wish I could be involved more, but Ian just will not reply to my Valentine's cards. I send Comics Division 1 card a week saying, do you like me? Yes, no. And I'm never, ever, ever getting a response. Right, exactly, Ravul. It's nice having evil characters being evil just because. And that's what, like, he's in this issue right here somewhere. Oh, is he in the beginning? Yeah, like you can see there's the main bad guy is just like, demon ghost Nazi, but he's just a bastard. There's no, like, I'm doing this to, usurp Hitler and do nicer Nazism or anything like that. He's just like, he's like, oh, Hitler thinks he's going to lose? No. We have a new secret weapon. And he starts, like, turning all the POWs he comes across. This is a pretty harrowing moment, actually, where, like, a U.S. unit gets ambushed by the Nazi vampire demons, and they get beaten. And this last guy here, he's like, no, screw you, like Krauts, like I'm never going over to your side, like go to hell, blah blah blah, freedom. And the Nazis go, oh yeah, we'll see what happens when you turn into a vampire. And they turn him, and because of how vampires work, he automatically like falls in line. And I'm just like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Like that kind of sucks. So it's a fun series. Like I would, if you guys are into any of the like supernaturally stuff that comes like side of Marvel, like I said, the cast right now is Nick Fury, Peggy Carter, Logan, Ghost Rider, and the current Sorcerer Supreme. It's not Doctor Strange, but it's his stand-in. And then at the end of this, or in the next issue, as this tag page shows, we're getting Bucky and possibly Cap, because where is it? Yeah, see right here, it says, sorry, Ravul, got to pull you down. But the teaser stinger here on the last page says next, Sentinels, like plural, of Liberty. So I think if the cover's showing us Buck, then we're probably getting Steve. But I also wonder, like, oh, if it's just showing us Bucky, like, does something happen to Steve? That would be wild. Like, that would suck, but that's war for you. So, yeah, fun, a very enjoyable series. I hope against hope, because I know this is what Marvel does. I kind of just want this to be its own thing, like a 5-issue one-and-done miniseries. But I know that if this is successful, either A, they're going to meld this story into mainline continuity, or B, they're going to do like Hell Hunters 2 and Hell Hunters 4. And remember, we're at like Marvel Zombies 12 at this point. We are so far on the like merchandise, the concept of Marvel Zombies line, that this latest Marvel Zombie series, I don't even know what it's called, but like it is set in the 616, but everybody is drawn like their MCU counterparts. And a lot, like, I think this flew under the radar for a lot of people, because for the most part, when you draw the MCU cast, they do look like their comic book counterparts, except for Scott Lang. And that's how I could tell, because Scott Lang in the comics has, that really cool, like, Ant-Man suit that just has, like, the circle and then, like, the lines that go up his shoulders. And the one in this series is black-haired with the Kamen Rider Ant-Man suit. And I'm like, that's just Paul Rudd. So my point to that is, like, they're, once you get all the way down, you're just pumping things out to pump things out and sell people on the name. The quality goes down. Everything diminishes. I read that first issue, and I had one of the moments. Andrew knows these moments because I talk to him about them all the time. One of my like Mav curiosity moments, because like I stopped there and I was like, what? Like, how does that make any particular sense? So it distracted me for a good 30 seconds, which, yeah, not long in the grand scheme of life, but in moment to moments, it can be quite a while. Yeah, exactly. One, what's up, volume dealer? Two, yeah, definitely well, Zardos would tell you it's not a gun, but yeah, it's a, where is it? Where is it? Oh, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. Yeah. I saw this and I'm just like, that's so cool. Like, it's one of those, like, really dumb, but really cool things, right? So I'm all about it. It's a fun series. I just hope they don't crap up the concept as we keep going. Andrew says, gorgeous art in Psylocke. Do we remember how many issues the series is? Is it a confirmed mini maxi? We don't know. They haven't confirmed yet. I think this was probably one of those situations that you and I talk about all the time, where they launched it normal, and then they were probably waiting to see how it did before declaring whether it's a maxi or a mini. Because, yeah, I've never heard anything about it being a mini, and that makes me presume they were going for they are ready for a maxi. But we also have seen how a couple books this run really like devolve into being maxis really fast when they're not popular. This is actually going to be surprising, but there's a book that came out of the here, I can probably pull it up. The Krakoa era, I guess is like what we want to call it, but no. From the Ashes. In this From the Ashes era, there is this book, which I know, like, Andrew in particular is going to be surprised by this, because we both had the same thoughts when we saw it, but there is this book called Sentinels that is being published right now. This is the cover to issue 4. Basically, the concept of this book is that the anti-mutant administrator of the Greymalkin prison up here, she basically develops a way to integrate like Sentinel technology into people. And so she it's kind of like your standard super soldier setup where these soldiers all had like PTSD or missing limbs and stuff, so she gave them a second chance. But while they're very effective and strong, you like as the series goes on, we start seeing how the process breaks down, and it becomes a how do I put this? It becomes like a drama, like a military drama thriller in the vein of Jack Reacher. If you put like Jack Reacher with, or you know what? Do Bourne Identity? No, Reacher is better, but then give him like mental, like I don't know what's going, like the Jason Bourne, like I don't know what's going on. I'm losing my mind. Like, is this who I'm supposed to be? Like that kind of aspect, right? And this book was when I read the first couple issues, when I read the what do you want to call it? The like solicit, I even told Andrew, we were like, this is boring. Like this, we've seen, we've made new Sentinels a million times. Let's go forward for it. And so like I was like, this is going to be stupid. But my Pakistani friend had it, so I was just borrowing copies from him because it's easy and I might as well keep up with continuity. And it's actually turned out to be very, very intriguing and interesting as a standalone book. Like it really doesn't have anything to do with anything else going on with the From the Ashes stuff, except, Andrew, the Sentinel dogs. They have their origins in this book, but that's kind of, you saw them in that last issue of Uncanny. That's all you really needed to get from their introduction. But yeah, so I bring this book up because this one was one of those where like they were like, Sentinels, new series, come check it out. And then after like issue 2, they went max or mini series ending with issue 5, and that made sense to me because I'm like, yeah, nobody was really reading that, which is just sort of a bummer because it does get good. Even if this issue, I don't even care because I'm almost positive that nobody's going to read it. They fucked up one of my favorite characters of all time right here, but it makes sense it works and it makes sense narratively, but it's still one of those moments that pisses me off. Because I don't know if you guys remember, let me go to, let me pop this open real quick. So I don't know if you guys ever read this series, but back in the early 2000s, there was this Sentinel miniseries. It was part of this sort of push you're seeing here to get younger readers into comic books. Things like Runaways, things like Spider-Girl. Good attempts to get young people into comic books. But yeah, so this series came from Sean McKeever, who you guys might remember as the writer of the amazing like Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane YA comics of Spider-Man. Very like I would recommend everybody read them because they're just fun. Like they're good times. They're good little fun rides. But this series basically is the premise of the series is that this kid here, Justin, finds a broken down Sentinel in the aftermath of the like House of M era, right? Like or of Civil War, House of M, all that stuff. He finds a broken down Sentinel sort of I think it's like in a junkyard near his house, and he manages to not only fix it back up, but also break its programming. So essentially what the series becomes is like the Japanese, little boy and giant robot trope. And it was really, really fun. It was really, really interesting. There was a series a couple years back called Avengers Academy, written by probably like one of my most hated writers. His name is Dennis Hopeless. But the series basically took a bunch of like young Avengers characters. And I mean that like not capital Y, capital A young Avengers, but just like younger Avengers like related kids. So people like all the Avengers Academy kids like Reptile and Hazmat and Metal in them. And then, Justin here, there was the Guardians of the Galaxy during the DNA run, there was this girl that traveled with Drax named Cammy, who she was just like a regular human who somehow got abducted and thrown out into the like depths of space, and she becomes this sort of child, like daughter stand-in for Drax, and it's a really interesting way to explore that part of his personality. So like those characters and actually some of the Young Avengers, like they get captured by Arcade and they all just get killed off. Like it's a really mean-spirited series for no reason, but they kill them off in that book. So Justin's been gone for 10 years now, more than that. But then in the Sentinel book, as we were just looking at, they reveal that the what's his name? What's the name of the guy who does Trask? But not Bolivar, his son, who's currently running everything. He dug up the corpse of Justin and is using that to program the Sentinels and control them and stuff. So like it makes sense, but I'm still just like, man, that's my guy. Like, why? It's at least better than Ben, who like we have written confirmation from all the Spider offices that like, oh no, we don't know what to do with Ben. Ben's being replaced by Gwen and Miles, so fuck him, right? It still stings. That's my guy. I like that guy. Oh hey, look at that. Yeah, Punk says I dropped West Coast Avengers because I lost interest in it. That, you know, if you dropped it, then I issue 3 might be where I drop it. Let's see. Sakura Amita, you asked this earlier and I meant to get to it, but we're still going. So Sakura Amita asks, what if Power Rangers stopped at the 1995 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie? I don't know what you mean, like, what if it stopped? What do you mean, like, narratively or as, like, a franchise? If you're talking as, like, a franchise, it would have been a really dumb move because that was, like, the height of its popularity and people were getting into it. If you said, oh, yeah, here's our movie, we're done, you would have been leaving millions on the table. In terms of canon, I mean, you could end it there, but there's so many other good seasons after that, like Samurai or Zeo or SPD. So you've been asking me a couple questions lately, like what if they ended Kamen Rider here? What if they ended Power Rangers right here? And like, I'm not a fan of this idea of like, you know, I don't like what came next. We should have just ended it. I think, especially with something like Kamen Rider or Super Sentai or Power Rangers, that is very, what do I want to call it here? Like, you know, it sets itself up to continue on its own. It doesn't need to keep building. You can always introduce a new team. You can always have a new concept. So, like, yeah, there have been a couple, you know, seasons that have had issues, but we've never got, or at least in terms of like Sentai and Kamen Rider, there have been series that have had issues, but if you care and you bring in people who are dedicated to, you know, writing specifically like that IP or that character, you can always save. There is very rarely a singular IP that cannot be saved by a genuinely good writer. The biggest example I would put up is Look at Me and Andrew, right? For the up until last year, up until Ultimate Spider-Man, we probably for the like 5 or 6 years before that, 4 or 5, 6, we weren't reading comic books because they were awful. But we are now picking up books that we would have never picked up before because somebody has come in and you know, made it a lot better. And if, you know, if they'd have gone, oh, this Batman run sucks, we're never doing Batman again, we're out of here, I think we would have missed out on a lot of things. So, you know, it's always we all have a lot of knee-jerk reactions to like, oh, we should just cancel this, get rid of it. But I kind of, if you have a good core concept and idea, I always think that you can bring somebody in to make it work. But it really depends on that writer. So, yeah, if somebody like that, that's sort of why I hold a lot of optimism for the franchises we still love, right? Or at least more in terms of video games, like not the MCU, but we've gotten a lot of bad video games lately. We've gotten a lot of our favorite IPs have been, you know, run over with neoliberal writing, or they've been harangued by the developers and they've been dog shit. That doesn't mean, like, for example, I'm not a big fan of what they did with Final Fantasy 16, but I don't want them to go, you know, I don't want to go there and go, no more Final Fantasy. We're done here. We screwed that one up so bad. We're done here. Because I know that what happens if, you know, another writer comes along and makes a game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or one of the expansions for Final Fantasy XIV, both of which I know people generally love. So I'm basically just expanding on that stupid, or not stupid because I use it a lot, but that saying of there are no bad ideas, just bad executions. I do believe that a lot, except I do have a little asterisk where sometimes there are very, 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 very bad ideas. But there's not a general rule. It's sort of like we have to take it as it comes. Like we'll see it and we'll go, oh, that's a really bad idea. That's a very, very bad idea. Let's see. Punk says, I started reading the Daredevil Woman Without Fear trade that I bought yesterday. I like it so far. I don't know which one that one is because I feel like they've used that title for a couple of the Elektra runs, but I know at least the Gang War series for Elektra was surprisingly good because it was written by a writer named Erica Schultz, who you guys might not know, but Andrew and I have sort of put her on our radar because she wrote the amazing Venomous stuff with Black Widow. So ever since we got like that series, we've been like, oh, let's keep tabs on her. Like, let's see what she's up to. And then a couple of weeks back, I was like, check this out, Andrew. I'm going to go read a bunch of her stuff. And I read like her X-23 miniseries and her Gang War Elektra. Neither of them are as good as Venomous, but they were still like, oh, this is a pretty solid romp. Like I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to see what she does in the future. Yes, exactly, Andrew. It was Marvel's Iron Giant. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't find that connect. I kept wanting to say like Gigantor, like the anime, but I know that that's not it. And I was like, that's not the right one. Volume Dealer says, this looks like Marvel manga, like Marvel created manga. Well, let me just go back to it real quick. If you notice on that page, on that very first credit page, story by Sean McKeever, art by Udon. So, like Udon Studios, the people who do the Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, all those comics right now, they were operating under a studio name at this point, but they were, that talent was the ones who were drawing this. They were also drawing a lot of different books at this time. There was a Deadpool series, there was a Taskmaster series. Marvel was really trying to experiment with like really getting into manga talent. I don't know why they kind of aired away from that, because while we do still have, really good crossover mangas coming out of like Shonen Jump, and then we also have the occasional artist doing a variant cover, like a manga artist doing a variant cover, we don't really have a lot of like, here's a mangaka or an anime person coming in to do their own comics. So you're not wrong in seeing that, but that was what they were going for. Yeah, you can definitely tell like where the anime influence is. It's not perfect anime, but you can see that's 100% what they were like aping for. I mean, look at this girl. This is straight up just like every like Digimon protagonist or like girl rolled in, or like from the first team rolled into one. It's like Mimi and Sora and Kairi all thrown together with a little bit of Molly Hayes. So yes, your senses are on point. If only they could hook up that Sentinel to a car, for those that know. I don't know. I have no idea what that reference is. Yeah, Andrew says, every IP can be saved and restored with the right writers and intentions. And sometimes, maybe that does require you throwing out continuity sometimes. Maybe sometimes that does mean you need a reboot. DC's done it 400 times with all of their Crisis stuff. The earlier ones made more sense. Now it's more of a gimmick, but still. There are ways you can go about saving things. I'm never a big fan of like throwing everything away about something. I don't like throwing the baby out with the bathwater in any capacity, even though I understand that sometimes it happens. Okay, I have seen Megas XLR. I didn't jump to that because I was sort of thinking like, my mind went to like Transformers, like the live action movies. I was like, did they hook them up and like jumpstart a car in one of those movies? I don't remember. I just noticed this, by the way, guys, while talking. Look at that fucking Truth poster in the background. Like, are you kidding? What an outdated... For those of you who are younger and aren't on the, stepping, into the grave. Truth was this really, really, really annoying anti-smoking campaign that they pushed for a long time in the 2000s to like mid 2010s. Very, very annoying. I am of the opinion that they are a controlled psyop, like a legitimate one. Like, I think they're paid by the tobacco companies to be annoying as fuck so that all of us don't listen to them. I genuinely believe that, but that still makes me laugh back there. Yeah, exactly. So Shinkai says, so Power Rangers IP concept-wise is building blocks. You can get a variety of things using the same blocks. Exactly. That's sort of, I think you hit the nail on the head at regarding what I was getting at, Shinkai, which is every time you flip over to a new Kamen Rider or a new Sentai season or a new Ultraman or whatever, you have the blocks, and that's kind of like the most important thing. And you don't have to acknowledge the old series. You don't have to pick it up. It can be a completely new story with a completely new direction. One season you might have like a 52 episode game of cops and robbers, and then the next season you have a really, really goofy reflection on the series history. And then after that, you have like a really dark body horror one about candy riders that, literally have to eat other creatures to transform. So yeah, building block one, like IPs are easier to like keep going or revive or go like, oh, that was bad. Like, for example, Power Rangers. If it was still going, and they got rid of like Simon Bennett and they brought in somebody, let's say Cider, right? We know Cider. We love Cider. He loves Power Rangers. He knows Power Rangers. He'd be able to handle it great. If you brought him in and he was doing the new seasons, we would all, we would have to acknowledge like, yeah, those were some pretty bad, like Cosmic Fury. That was a bad time. But we can go like, but hey, we got out of it. We're not that bad anymore. I also think I'm sort of seeing this from my lifelong perspective as a sports fan, especially a sports fan of exceptionally bad teams. Chicago Bears, San Diego Chargers when they were in San Diego Padres, Chicago Cubs, Blackhawks, Manchester United. Blackhawks had a good run for a little bit. Now they're back to being ass. Manchester United in the early 2000s was like king of the field with Van Persie and everything. Now they're ass. Now they're just straight ass. Don't even get me started on the rest of the Chicago teams, right? But I watch these teams and I go, wow, holy shit, you guys messed that play up. That was an awful game. Like, I am embarrassed to be associated with this team. But I don't want them to, like, I don't go, nope, no more team. I don't want them. I'm going to a different team, or I'm throwing them out. I go, let's hope the next one gets, like, the next game is better. And if the next game is better and we, start a win streak, we all go like, yeah, that was really shaky for that one game where we played, I don't know, the Packers. But guess what? Like, now we're getting better. We were able to recover. I think in our society or in our culture at this moment, there's a lot of people don't want to, and I'm not saying this is you, Sakura. I'm sort of going into a general, but the idea of recovery or getting better isn't really one that's promoted or endorsed or really like shown as viable. So often do we have, especially with like the anti-woke pundits or even the ones who you would consider like woke. Every time they see something, oh, there's a woman in Star Wars, fucking throw it out. I don't want it anymore. Oh, there's no black guys in the lead of this team, throw it out. I don't want it anymore. And it's like, okay, but what if somebody tried to make it better? And then if somebody does try to make it better and, maybe they do one thing or a couple things right, but overall it was kind of bad, we still go, nope, still awful. Crap, nothing working here. And I think like that's not how humanity works, right? We don't work with, you did something wrong, now you're immediately, like, I've told you about it, you're immediately better at it. That's not how we have to learn. We have to grow. We have to exercise those like mental muscles, right? And so, like, there is nothing, like, yes, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. It sucks when our favorite franchises eat shit really hard and we get things like Spider-Man 3 or fucking Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Exceptional X-Men or Kamen Rider Ghost, right? Like we low points will happen, but I always, it's always recoverable. It's 900% of the time it's recoverable. Just as you'll have to take that L, and you know, it'll be a scar on your history or whatever as a franchise, but at least you can show like, hey, we stumbled, but we were able to pick ourselves back up. Yes, I did have to say it because it's our favorite book. I'm getting you the deluxe hardcover trade when it comes out. Oh yeah, the Chip Zdarsky one. Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil is good in the beginning, but then once he gets like, it's after this point. I think this one is really good. I haven't read that one, Punk, but I feel like I've heard it's pretty enjoyable. But once you get past sort of the initial arc, which is very long, like the initial arc of Zdarsky's Daredevil run is like 30 issues. Like it's a very long one. It's a very good one. Admittedly, it retreads a lot of stuff from Bendis and Malieve's run, but pardon me, it's still overall a good, intense, captivating run. It also has like a lot of really good character moments. I'm sure you guys out there have either seen it or you've seen me post it on Twitter or in a Bounding article, but there is a scene where, so basically the big crux of Daredevil's run or of Zdarsky's run is that here, we don't need to look at her. We can actually pull up Zdarsky's run and we can look at things, and let's see. That'll probably take a second to load because it's a trade paperback. But so the sort of crux of Zdarsky's so yeah, the crux of Zdarsky's run is that people think Daredevil killed somebody like in cold blood, and there is a witness. So what happens is Matt goes to talk to a client in prison, and while in prison, or like while there, a riot breaks out. So Daredevil goes like, okay, I'm gonna go save him. He tries to use the chaos to get away, and he separates from his client. But then during the fight, like right before he puts on his disguise, which is just like the mask that he wears in Defenders, the Marvel show, the client sees him. So now he's like, I will give you information on who Daredevil is if you lighten my sentence. So now there's this big goose chase out, or like this manhunt out for Daredevil, because not only do they want to prosecute him, but or like not only do they want to like question him, but they want to prosecute him for a guy earlier who died during a confrontation with him. It wasn't Daredevil's fault, but everybody's trying to pin it on him. There is a scene in this run where, and I'm flipping through it really fast to see if I can find it. By the way, I know Andrew recognizes it, but this is Marco Cicchetto. This is the guy who's doing Ultimate Spider-Man, and you can see this guy's one of my favorites right now over at Marvel. Probably second to Iban and Peach, who I would tie, but that's me. I know not everybody is a big Peach person. Whoops, I went too far. Now we got to start over. So yeah, there's this great scene here with Spider-Man where basically Spider-Man comes in and he confronts Matt, and Matt has this inner dialogue where he's like acknowledging like, I know this is serious because this is he's not quipping, all of his muscles are tense, he's like ready to throw a punch, and Spidey kind of confronts him and is like, we all know that there's he says something so cool. All of us know that we can't do this job forever. There's going to come a day when we make too many missteps, when our bodies fail, when too many people get hurt and not enough get saved. I'd hope somebody would step up and let me know when it's my day. Right now, it's your day. It's over. I'm spreading the word. If any of us see you out there attempting this, we'll stop you. We have to, or it could be the end of all of us. You need to. And then, yeah, Daredevil admits he's right and, tosses his mask to Spider-Man, who leaves. And it's this really powerful confrontation moment because, they're both, at least in my view, they're sort of, kindred spirits because they're both, motivated by tragedy. They both got their powers in a radioactive accident. They're both very acrobatic fighters. They both patrol the streets of New York. They both use, like, you know, Daredevil uses his clubs and Spider-Man uses his webs to both swing across, and they're both super clad in red. I've always liked their dynamic. So when you see Spider-Man being the, like, adult in the room, that's when you're like, oh, fuck, like, this is crazy. I don't know if it is in this trade, but no, it must be in... Oh, that's literally the end of this trade. That's funny. But the scene there's another scene later on where Matt gets caught up in a fight, and everybody notices, and so Spider-Man comes to him, and he's like, what did I say to you? Like, give me, like, you're done here. And he's like, come on, Matt. Or like, Matt does this thing where he's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this. Like, he acknowledges, like, I only put the mask on because I needed to do one thing, but I need to see this fight through to the end. So he's bruised, he's bloodied. Spider-Man's like, you're done, no more of this. And Matt responds by, like, putting on his mask and going like, all right then, square up. I'm going to do this last thing, and if, like, you don't want me to do it, you have to physically stop me. Or you need to trust me that I can do this. And there's this, like, silence for, like, obviously it's just like a page, but probably a good 30 seconds in real time, like in the narrative. And Spider-Man just goes like, I'm watching. And he leaves. And Matt, like, breaks down. He's like, if I took one punch, I was dead. Even if Spider-Man didn't mean it. Because that's how, like, raw we were. So I bring that up. That's one of my favorite bits out of the Zdarsky run. It's an overall fun run. But once you get past this initial arc, it sort of starts to drag a little bit. And he starts to really retread even his own stories. Sakura says, speaking of Final Fantasy VII, what if FF7 Remake was released for PS3? It would have been even worse. Or let me rephrase that. I don't think it's bad. I like it. But it would have been a significantly worse package. Because the PS3 is nowhere near the power of the PS4. It's got a lot. I played Metal Gear Solid 4. But I also don't want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Remake on 4 discs across my PS3. So I'm kind of glad they waited until it was actually viable. And you don't see that a lot. And I kind of get it because you get this idea like, oh, we could remake this game now and we can, you know, or we can remake this movie because we have better technology. And you go, yeah, it's going to look better than the last one or play better or whatever. But is it actually, like, the best? Right? Like, you're still going to make it and people are still going to go, that's wonky, that's weird. I'm more of a fan of, like, wait until you have the proper ability to, like, deliver on what you're promising, than just try to get something out there. As long as they're, like, communicative and, like, we've all seen the Kickstarters where, you know, people either run off with the money or they go silent for, like, 12 months without an update. That's not what I'm talking about. But just say, like, hey, we have interest in a remake, but we're waiting until the technology is there. We've heard that a few times out of movie producers and video game developers, but I would like to see that happening more, because I would rather wait, you know, another 4 years for, let's say, what do I want to pull out of my butt as an example? Like, Gundam, right? We saw what Requiem for a Vengeance looked like, the 3D Netflix one. It was okay. But if you were saying, like, oh yeah, now we're going to go out and make our live action Gundam, I would go, maybe wait. Like, yeah, you can put the Gundams on the screen, and I recognize that is one, but maybe wait until you can, like, do it proper, right? Sort of like, have you guys ever, this happens to me a lot, where I go, like, I want a burger. Or, yeah, like, I'm very hungry for a hamburger, a cheeseburger. And, you know, yeah, there's a McDonald's right there, or a Burger King, or whatever. But while that wouldn't be me getting a hamburger, it wouldn't be me getting, like, a satisfactory hamburger. I would eat that hamburger and go, like, it was a burger, but it was kind of, like, not a lot there. It baseline fulfills it being a burger, but I wish I could have had more. And that's what I would like to... I know it's not possible to do it 100%, but I'd like to see creative endeavors going for that more. Because I feel like if you do I'm just going to grab whatever, you know, I'm just going to release whatever remake I can right now, that feels corporate to me. And that corporate angle always makes me feel icky because it's just like I I primarily approach everything from an artist point of view because I am an artist, and that's why I'm so pro free speech, anti censorship, pro let everybody make what they want and let the market decide. So, um, yeah, like in that sense, when I see corporations just throwing out remakes or whatever, even though the technology's not there to either significantly improve it or portray it great, then I just go like, you just want money, and that makes me feel gross. Let's see. Volume Dealer says, I wish people understood that all these IP were intentionally being destroyed on purpose. So saying Star Wars Marvel can't be returned to glory is nonsense. And I think, I actually agree with you here, Volume Dealer. We've seen it, right? We've heard them come out and say we wanted to turn Star Wars into a boys brand, or we've come out and we've seen them say like Marvel fans were too white, so we wanted to diversify everything. And once that becomes your main intention, your demographics, everything sort of crumbles from there. And yeah, we've seen them intentionally trying to deconstruct our heroes, and intentionally trying to ruin everybody's appearances, or like not appearances, but like their characters, their standing. I don't know what their whoa. Oof, I don't know what the hell that was. I like slipped off my chair. But like for example, Luke Skywalker, Rian Johnson completely shit on his character. Peter Parker right now being completely destroyed for the last like 10 years by a rotating cast of Nick Lowe, Dan Slott, Joe Quesada, pretty much Marvel proper. I'm with you though, Volume Dealer. Like if we, put me on writing Spider-Man, put Andrew on writing Batman or whatever, and that's just to say, like, not us specifically, but that's just to say, like, what Volume Dealer is saying here, we can get back to that. It might be rough, and that's what I was saying is, like, we'll always have that scar, but that doesn't mean we can't get to a better place. And it's sort of like, you can look at life. As we go through life, every bad decision we make, every person we hurt, every, scar, like physical scar we get, big gashes, those are going to be with us forever. We have to deal with those consequences. It sucks, and maybe we recognize like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But you can't go back in time and change it. And you don't want to go, oh, I fucked up, my perfect run is over, time to, kill myself. I'm not saying delete or unalive YouTube. Fuck off. Like I'm not doing this shit anymore. But what you do is you try to get better. You let that scar heal up. You try to become a better person. You try to make amends with the person you hurt, and eventually maybe someday you get to a better place. But you're still gonna have those scars. But at least people, it's like a learning point. You'll be like, yes, that did happen, but it got me here. Look at like RDJ, right? Nobody's ever gonna forget that he kind of torpedoed his entire life by going on to drugs. But look at him now. We look at him and we go, remember when he was like that? Look at how he recovered. And if we'd have just gone, nope, no RDJ, we're done with him, like cast him out, we would have never gotten Iron Man, honestly. Like, as cliche as it is, the man kills it in the role of Tony. So there are a few things that are like conceptually we've seen these last few years that are kind of just like, this is really, really bad from the onset. One of those things, like High Guardian Spice, that's one where I'm like, you probably could recover it, but is it really worth it? So, I think a lot of these things can be saved. It'll be weird. You might be telling your friends later down the line, like, Spider-Man, so Spider-Man had to make a deal with the devil, and then there were like 20 years where he was being beaten up by editorial, and then after a giant multiversal fight where Spider-Man gets the like Mjolnir and discovers that his real father is Steve Rogers or something, he was able to use his knowledge to, like, that was the emotional connection he needed to go back to Mephisto and fight him and beat him, and we're back. That's super fucking convoluted. I get it. And it's gonna, like, you're gonna, like, go, oh man, I can't believe I have to try and explain this to my buddy. But at the very least, you can at least end that with going like, but look where we are now. We're so much better off now. Bingo, volume dealer. Bad actors try to destroy our way of life by car crashing our entertainment hubs. Bingo. Like, again, I don't like discussing the overall culture war here, but when the culture war was super at its height, in the 2016, 2017 era, when like Trump just got into office and everybody was going into like fucking meltdown overdrive, they really wanted, like we've seen it. I've covered it for years. They go for these characters so that they can sort of go, we're telling you that's wrong. This is how you should be now. And ignoring, what the character is, why people like them, they've just become mouthpieces. So you're totally right, volume dealer. Let's see. Volume dealer also says, I started watching Netflix Daredevil and I got a file with some goofballs doing some MST 300 commentary that is so painful during the entire... Okay. That's fucking hilarious to me. First of all, that sucks, but I think we've all been there. That reminds me a lot of the days when I was like on LimeWire, right? Where you would download like, specifically a lot of songs on LimeWire. Like if you wanted like a comedy song, all of them were labeled either Tenacious D or Weird Al Yankovic. Didn't matter who actually wrote it. That's who it was. Like there's that, the like, Link, he come to town. He come to save the Princess Zelda. That file to me was labeled as Weird Al for the longest time. And then it was System of a Down. And I don't know who actually did it. I know it's not Weird Al because it's not his vocals. But that's what it reminds me of. So, fun little nostalgia like kick right there. But also, to your second point, this is something that like I've been noticing a lot more in recent weeks, especially with like Trump's re-inauguration, is that a lot of people really, really want to be and think they are capable of being either A, main characters, or B, any sort of like personality. 98% of the time, guys, you're not. Like, you're not the main character. You're not that fucking funny. And it can get painful when you see people who don't realize it, right? Like I see so often in the replies to big tweets, just like random, and again, you're going to go, oh, why is Mav pointing out that political side? Because it's who it is. A bunch of like MAGA people always replying with like, subscribe to this because I had the breakdown of this, or like, I've seen people starting to like watermark their memes even if they're really dog shit. And I'm just like, none of you people have the charisma or the personality or even the sort of understanding of what it takes to be a popular public figure that people want to return to and listen to. You're all like Elon, right? Elon wants to be a fucking celebrity so bad. He wants everybody to love him. He wants to be the next Drill, or he wants to be the new Drill on Twitter. But he ain't, and he's never going to be. But he's going to keep trying and trying and trying when it's okay if you're not. You don't, like, not everybody has to be a celebrity. But alas, some people will never get that memo, and they're just going to keep subjecting all of us to that, right? Let's see. Netflix. Sakura says, okay, get this. What if remake released for PS4, but all the story, 4 or 3 discs for PS4 instead of 1 PS4 release and 2 PS5 release? I don't really care. That sort of release, if you're putting that's basically just, do you want them all labeled as remake or do you want them labeled individually, right? Because if I'm getting 3 discs for the full story of the remake trilogy, or I'm getting 1 disc for remake, rebirth, and whatever, isn't that like the same thing? Again, like I want my releases on as few discs as possible, because I think we're past that era where we have to open up our consoles to load another 500 megabits of data, which is what it all was. Shinkai asks, random question. Would you rather have a messy bad change be fixed by a quick solution like it was all just a dream, or solved it off screen, or have a detailed convoluted solution? So, it the honest answer for me is that I would like. I'm a fan of solving it off screen, but also having like or like I'm a fan of the latter two. Like, I'm cool if you solve it off screen as long as you give it a good explanation. I'm also more of a fan of, like, I want to see, like, at least try to explain it to me, you know, play with the cards you're dealt, essentially. Instead of flipping over the table and going, I can't do anything, go like, all right, I'll play this pair and then hopefully I'll get a, and just keep going, right? So I think that's important to, you know, keep the sense of continuity and immersion for your reader. However, I know you've heard me say this before, and I still stand by it, which is, if tomorrow, if the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man opened with Ben Reilly in his Scarlet Spider suit, and he just walked into the panel, and nobody said shit, no, like Peter's just like, oh, hey, Ben, I would be so fucking happy. But that's a personal one, right? Like, I know that I'm sure if Andrew saw that, he'd be like, that was really bad writing. But I'm just so done with that stupid change that I want it gone. So I don't think there's a blanket here. I think there are some times when you can go like, I'm just going to ignore that wholesale, and you know, more often than not, you're going to want to at least explain things to people. Even if it's a bad explanation, even if you're like, I've just got to get over here, as long as you're treat your readers with like respect and intelligence, and you'll get out of it less scathed. I'm not going to say unscathed, but less scathed. Sakura says, Spencer, have you heard of news about a new Resident Evil movie reboot? I have. Let me pull up an article for us to look at while I tell you about that, because I think we've all looked at pardon me. Whew. I think we've all looked at sad Matt for a while now. So let's go over here to the web talk screen. All right. Oh, I gotta like move the comments back up. Whoa, you dropped. So yeah, in case you guys hadn't heard the news, we are getting Resident Evil series reboot, I guess. Well, here's the problem. We don't know if it'll actually come to fruition. If you notice all the reports, it's about, you know, it's currently in the bidding war phase. Everybody's trying to get a piece of it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it all the way to the screen or to production or whatever. So right now we're in the hype part of the news cycle where this is being put out into the entertainment sphere so that interest builds around it. But long story short, it's kind of right here. You get what's on the tin. We're getting a supposed reboot film series of Resident Evil from Zach Kreger, who directed The Barbarian. Barbarian. I don't know if anybody caught that last year. It was a very, very, very good horror movie, but it's unfortunately also one of those movies where you can kind of only watch it once and get the shock and impact. You can watch it again and still appreciate it and enjoy it, but that like first time experience only happens that first time. So I'm torn here. I'm very torn because I like that movie a lot, and I think Zach Kreger does have a talent for horror. The problem is, will Hollywood, like the production end, will they let him cook? Or are they going to get all up on his ass and tell him, you know, yeah, you can do that, but we need this, we need that, we need this, we need this, that. I think if you leave him to his own devices and let him actually try to adapt Resident Evil proper and, like, you know, first movie, put a bunch of cops in a mansion, that's going to be perfect for him. I think if you try to do a first movie by throwing in a bunch of random RE lore and trying to not shock literally, but like keep upping the ante as to monster designs throughout the movie, I think that's where this would fall apart and become more thriller schlock than horror. I was telling this to Cider over on 01, but imagine like the difference. Imagine if you let Kreger make that Resident Evil movie and the first one is just about the cops in the mansion, and throughout the movie, the main things they deal with are just like zombies and maybe like 1 or 2 zombie Dobermans. And then at the very, very, very end, the big sort of shocking monster reveal is a licker. That is a proper pacing and escalation, right? Then you can go into the next movie and start introducing the more modified T-virus stuff, and then you get to Nemesis in 3. But if they do it how producers love to do it, they'll start off with, here's Nemesis. And now if we start off with Nemesis, or like if you remember in the first series of movies, one of the first enemies they do encounter is a licker. If you start there, well, you're already really far down the enemy line, and now you've got to keep escalating it, because if you get to the climax of the movie and it's just another licker, right? But if you get to the end of the movie and you started with a licker and it's Nemesis, whoa, threat escalation, normal movie progression. So it really all depends. Will they let him cook, or will they be Hollywood and say, you got to throw in all of this crap? We'll see. The fact that Kreger is attached to it makes me beyond excited. Or let me rephrase that. The fact that Kreger is attached makes me look at this with an open mind, right? Like where I would normally go, like, I don't care, it's another Resident Evil movie. I go, oh, is that Kreger? That might be cool. Okay. This is going to be weird because I don't normally do this, because I'm normally better about timing this, but I need to go to the bathroom really, 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 really bad. Like, I need to pee. So I'm going to step away for like 2 minutes maybe. I don't have any idle screens or anything, so we're going to go, what's his name, XQC style, and you're going to look at my chair for like a second while I just let the runtime play. But I will be right back, guys. I'm so sorry. Woo! Good Lord. Oh, barely 3, volume dealer. I made it back just in time. Just in time. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's see. Where are we? I guess we're kind of in the in-between zone. So I guess before we get into another topic, I'll just take our customary moment to explain our stream buddy for tonight, because I'm sure everybody has noticed. Over here on our left, hanging out with us tonight, is the latest Magic card drawn by one of my favorite comic book artists, Peach Momoko. If you guys caught my Twitter, I made this tweet earlier before we hopped on stream, but this card is absolutely gorgeous. She did a set here. Let me pull it up before. Which I have, but she also did a previous set of Magic cards. Which here, what's a big pic? I don't want like a small one. I want a big one so that you can all see it, so that you can appreciate it with me. Here, night and day games. Sure, you can help me out here. But yeah, so she did this previous set where they're regular cards, they're just reprints, but she drew exclusive art for them. These ones were released as part of Magic's Secret Lair Drop series, which is, I hate it. I wish there was a way to change it, but basically, it's a first come, first serve sort of, we're releasing this set on, what is it, Friday, January 31st at 9 a.m., and you just got to hop on and hope you enter the queue in time. So she did these before. I have them. But yeah, she's coming out. She just drew this new one, this lightning bolt variant. But I'm fuming because I know I'm never going to get it, because this card is being sold, or it's not even being sold. It is literally the prize card. I think it's either top, like, number 1 seed or sorry, the winner or the top 3 placers get the card. But exclusive prize card to the upcoming MagicCon 2025 in Chicago for standard format, which is, so it's like, I don't live in that city anymore. I don't play that format. I would never go to MagicCon. Like, I like playing the game, but I'm never going to a MagicCon. So it's like, I will never get this card. And it makes me very, very upset, but that doesn't mean I can't admire the artwork. It's a little bit of a, like, Peach is starting to do a lot of variant, like, card arts, and it's bumming me out because they're always, like, understandably expensive, right? Like I get it. I'm not saying they aren't worth that, but it's just like, man, I wish I didn't have to keep paying such, like, big prices for them. For example, so is this her? Oh, I think this is her Instagram. Yeah. So, like, for the One Piece card game, she drew this variant piece for one of the Trafalgar Law cards. It's beautiful, costs $20 for the card. I'm still going to get it someday, but I don't have to be happy about it. You know what I mean? And then there was, I'll just grab this one, another one that I need to get, but this Boa Hancock, which, I mean, holy shit. Peach drew Boa, I am there, like, immediately. And then there is, can I find a better one than that? Let's see. There's got to be a better, oh, is it really just preview image? It isn't out yet. That's interesting. But, wow. There is, whoops, I closed the window. Then the others she drew were this Black Maria and this Yamato, both of which are in decks that I actually use. And then, this gorgeous Nami. So I want them, like if I ever get all the Peach cards, those are the ones that I'm going to, like, display on my wall instead of keeping them in a binder or trying to do anything for it. Like, see, where am I supposed to even order this? Like, nowhere. This isn't a box that actually gets released anywhere. I've never seen this listing. You know what? Let's go to the online site I use to buy my singles, right? TCG Player. Illustration box for One Piece. There. Volume 1. Pre-sale. No listings. Literally, what am I supposed to do? What do you want from me? What do you want from me, Bandai? Why won't you let me give you money? I don't understand this. Like, fix your product line, because I want to give you money, but you won't let me give you money. I don't know why. I want my Peach Momoko cards. I want them. I'm also going to see, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a second illustration box. I wonder what's in that. Oh, it's probably just the other ones we were looking at. Yeah, the other Peach ones. So, that's our buddy for tonight. Love Peach Momoko. Love Peach Momoko. Love Magic the Gathering. Simple as. Let's see. Sakura Mita says, as a helping hand, remember Rita's Rewind? After some time, yeah, just physical release, no mention of an upcoming game modes or DLC. Yeah, so this was a very weird thing that Sakura brought to my attention. I'm just grabbing the link real quick, Sakura. I know it's in here somewhere. Oh yeah, I know where it is. There we go. So we talked about this game a couple weeks ago, and we all remember that, I liked the sprite art approach to it, but I didn't really like the gameplay. But regardless of what I had to say about it, it looks like out of nowhere, the recent side-scrolling beat-em-up, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, is getting physical releases, but only for the PS5 and the Switch, not for literally any other console, even though it can run on all of those. Like, this is not a demanding game, guys. This could probably run on like a Game Boy cartridge. Maybe not a Game Boy, maybe an SNES cartridge, but still. Yeah, so $35 you get a or $50 for the collector's edition, where you get a steel bookcase, a 3D lenticular postcard, individual pixel art collectible Power Ranger cards. But yeah, like Sakura said, this release comes out of nowhere. We didn't know we were gonna get any, like, this has never been mentioned before, and then it really isn't offering that much. There's no real good bonus content, and then like you said, there's been no word about, like, are we getting a sequel? Does this mean more are coming? Like, it's very, very weird, and I don't really like. I don't really have an opinion on it. I just think it's like a bizarre thing. If you like, I know a lot of people like the game, so if you like the game, I would recommend picking it up physical, because I'm always pro physical. I'm not going to grab this because I didn't like what I saw, but it's just very weird that they're dropping it without any news or any. I don't know, guys. It's just there's no conspiracy. There's no big critique I can give here. I can just sort of look at it and be like, that's very odd. I don't know what your strategy is. Like if this was Shark Tank, I would be like, I'm out. I'm not investing in this. So yeah, if you like Rita's Rewind, grab it. But it's, this is probably the last bit of new Power Rangers media you're going to get in a long time. But speaking of IP media that this is the last you're going to see of them in a long time. Let's talk about, look at this, Zero. I know you're probably playing video games or something, but we're getting to the main topic in the actual middle of the show, where we should be getting into it, instead of the last 5 seconds of the show when you remind me. But like I was saying at the beginning of the show, as I said in the thumbnail, in the in the stream title, as of today, or not as of today, but earlier today, Warner Brothers announced that they are officially bringing Multiversus to an end. Now, so they announced this shutdown today. The game will have one last season that runs from February 4th to May 30th. After that, the game is finito. They are taking it down. You can still play the game offline, but if you want to do that, you need to go in and you need to download or add the game to your account, whether you have Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, add the game to your account, and then you can download it forever to play locally. If you don't, it's gone forever. It's a very, very weird system, but that's what they're doing. So starting today, you can no longer buy premium currency, which makes sense. I want to note this because it seemed really weird wording to me, but whatchamacallit? Where was it? So they wrote this about the premium currency. As of today, January 31st, real money transactions will no longer be available for Multiversus, which means you can no longer purchase Gleamium, but you can still use remaining Gleamium or character tokens to access in-game content until Season 5 ends on May 30th at 9 a.m. All right, I took that pause there for a second because maybe a couple of you, it was hitting you as well. But that wording to me makes it sound like if you don't get, after, what is it, January or May 30th, if you haven't bought a character or unlocked a costume, you never will be able to. And that to me sounds particularly fucking wild, because I don't know how many of you guys out there played this game. It's not fantastic, like I was saying at the beginning, but their in-game economy was one of their worst aspects, and things costed $20 for one character, $12 for costumes. It was really, really egregious. To the point where when they first released the game, I don't know if they switched it when they did the second revival, but when they launched the game, they said, oh yeah, you can earn in-game, credits and stuff and unlock things that way. It would have taken I think somebody did the math where it was like it takes 3 months of straight playing to unlock enough currency via just free play to get one character. So I can't imagine that this game sold a lot of this stuff. So that means we're going to go out there. If my read of this is right, that means in the future, like, I'll be like, oh, do you guys want to come? Like, well, this will never happen. Just follow me here with this scenario. Oh, guys, let's all go play Multiversus. Well, we're going to go play it at Volume Dealer's house? Well, he's got Aquaman, but he didn't get Lola or Raven or the Powerpuff Girls. Well, do we want to play it at Mav's house? Well, he's got all them, but he didn't buy Nubia, and he didn't buy Agent Smith, and he didn't buy Samurai Jack. So I don't know. Well, why don't we go over to Sakura's house and play? Well, Sakura's got everybody, but she or he didn't unlock the extra stage or whatever. It's absolutely bizarre to me to think that you're going to take down a game and also take down the method by which players can unlock things. Like, I speculated it in here. Are they not going to like create some parallel economy once the game goes down, or like now that says, oh, you can earn Gleamium, your premium currency, once the game's dead, or now that we're not accepting money, you can earn Gleamium by playing, and that's what you can use to unlock characters. I couldn't imagine opening up a game, even if I'm playing it 30 years later, and going, I can't unlock all the characters. If you're locking character unlock access that to me says that you are like it's all hosted server side, which I don't know. It's one of those situations where I can't even fathom what I want to say about it because it's so bizarre. I never would have anticipated that. Yeah, Reeve's here. What's up? First off, what's up, Reeve? Reeve says, I never played Multiversus. Any platform fighter outside of Smash feels weird to me. So, you're not missing much. That's basically what I'm going to say at the beginning. This game, I agree with you, Reeve. I think what the problem is that, like, Smash is so fluid, and they've had so long for, what's his name, Sakurai to iron everything out, and you know, somebody with real, pardon me, like, he loves video games. He loves the craft of video games, Sakurai. He studies that shit. Like, it is his life vein, or like his lifeblood. I'm not going to say the developers over at, Play First Games, who made Multiversus. I'm not going to say they don't like video games, but I doubt that they love it as an art form and appreciate it as much as Sakurai, where they're going in and they're playing obscure 80s platformers to get down the feeling of jump physics, right? So with all the effort Sakurai put in, you have an amazingly refined and polished product. That's great. Like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. And in an ideal world, like, if you were going, I'm just going to copy Smash, you've got a really, really solid groundwork there. The problem comes when they try to uniqueify their particular game, whether it's Nick All-Stars, Toon Brawl, or whatever it was, or Multiversus, or there was a beautiful Joe one, Red Hot Rumble, that I really liked, but still wasn't great. The problem is that, like, it's so refined from Nintendo that the second you try to throw in an extra thing, now the entire Rube Goldberg machine that Sakurai has set up goes out the window, right? Like, we all know what Rube Goldberg machines are. Those are things where, like, you hit one domino and it goes all around the house and hits a bunch of shit, and then at the very end it, like, lights up a balloon and it says happy birthday, Reeve, or whatever. Those things are, like, so delicate and so finely tuned that if you randomly just went in and put, like, a basketball in the middle of, like, a domino roll, it's probably not going to work. It's probably going to throw everything off. Even if the momentum was strong enough to get the ball to hit the other domino, who knows if it's going to fall in the right way to hit. It just goes out the window. So, you know, or even like PlayStation All-Stars. That one was probably the closest Smash clone, but then their unique mechanic was you can't kill anybody unless you hit them with a special move. Which meant that, okay, great, we can have a match, but the second one of their final Smash balls pop up, that's all that really matters. You could be the worst player in the game, and all of a sudden that ball pops up and you use it and you've won. Fun for, like, you know, oh, I've got a bunch of my, like, normie friends coming over for a party with some gamer friends. Let's see if there's, like, a fun group activity. That's fun. But if I'm trying to play it as, like, an actual video game, it sucks asshole. that's sort of where I felt about Multiversus too. I mentioned this at least I think I mentioned it at the top. If I didn't mention it at the top, I definitely mentioned it in my article, and I've mentioned it before. Volume dealer, Zero Dozer is in the eighth world country known as Brazil. Don't worry, we're all good here in America. But the way they tried to uniqueify multiverses, I try all the Smash clones that come out. It's a fun system, and a lot of times when they try to do a Smash thing, I like seeing the IPs that are used, right? I'm a big fan of old Nicktoons. I'm a big fan of PlayStation stuff. I'm a big fan of DC stuff, at least. The Warner crossover felt worse to me than any of the other ones because, like, Nickelodeon and PlayStation All-Stars, like those two games, and Beautiful Joe and like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one from like the movie era, like 2006, I think. All of oh shit, I totally lost my train of thought. Hold on. Those games, like, yes, they were like, well, like in the case of Turtles and Beautiful Joe, those were all wholly original rosters, right? Those all came from that series. Like, that was all related to there. When you go to Nintendo and PlayStation and Nickelodeon for their rosters, they're all like crossover IPs that might not necessarily have anything to do with each other, but they all sort of were born under the umbrellas, like that intentional umbrella of what they're in, right? Like CatDog and SpongeBob, different things, but they were both born as Nicktoons. Like they were created as Nicktoons. They were developed as Nicktoons. On PlayStation, Kratos and Nathan Drake couldn't be in more different games, but they were both developed as a PlayStation IP under the PlayStation Studio, for that console. So it makes more sense when you get to multiverses. Like, I'll go down to or up here. Yes, you have a bunch of crossover characters, right? You have Arya, you have Velma, you got Superman, Garnet, Finn, whatever. You get Beetlejuice later, you get Agent Smith, you get Samurai Jack, you get Jason, you get Raven, whatever. Problem is, these weren't all created like under a collective banner for Warner Brothers. All of this shit was acquired by them. DC was a purchase. The Game of Thrones stuff was a purchase. The Hanna-Barbera cartoons, that's a purchase. The only reason Finn and Jake are even on this game is because they started as a Nicktoon, but Nick didn't want to pay the money to produce the show, so it went over to Cartoon Network, and they got it there. So, like, I don't have a specific word, or there probably is one, it's just not coming to me, but it just feels so, rather than a celebration of like, here are PlayStation characters, here's Nicktoons, here's, Nintendo. Instead of that, it feels more like, remember the things we have? Remember this? We own this thing. It feels like, I know I might be the only person here who watched it, and I had to, or I didn't have to, but I did it because of my job. Space Jam 2, it's the exact same feeling, where you see when they're playing, the game against the enemies later, all of the stands are filled with like Batman characters and Hanna-Barbera and all of them, but it just feels so gross because it's like, you guys didn't make that, you just own it. And now you're saying like, look, we're all a big happy, and it's like, we're not. It just feels gross. But more to the point of what I wanted to get to is that, to Reeves' point, the way they tried to be unique in this game was, so we've all played Smash out there. Even I know even the people who aren't chatting right now, I'm gonna bet $100 to each of you that you've all played Smash Brothers. If you haven't, message me. You'll get $100. That's just engagement bait. You probably won't get it. I'll give you 100 Monopoly dollars. How about that, guys? 100 bounding bucks that have absolutely zero worth right now. But we've all played Smash, so we know that like we are all familiar with how Smash attacks play, right? You hit side or like a direction plus A, and your character does a special move. You can either do it really fast, and you can like tap it, and they'll still do the attack, or you can hold it and you can charge it up. And $4 to anybody who can guess what character I was trying to imitate here with that charge up smash attack. It's not that hard, but I want to see if anybody can get it. So that makes it so you can like respond faster. You can switch up your moves in the middle of a fight. In Multiversus, if you want to use a smash attack, you have to hold the button, even if you want to do the very, very 1 second like lowest damage version of it, right? Like if you wanted to do a C-stick version of your smash attack, you still have to hold it for at least a second to like enter smash attack mode. Otherwise, your character just does their regular side A. It is the clunkiest, most awful feeling mechanic I have had like played in a fighting game in a long time. And if you guys know me or you've listened to me, you've hung out with me, that is my scene. I came up in the fighting game community. I love my fighting games. I'm about them. Anytime a new one is out, I'm obsessed with them. It's still like the worst feeling thing I have ever like interacted with in controls. The feeling of like, oh, I'm Superman. I got knocked up and I'm falling down and I'm going to fall right where Finn the Human is standing. Great. I did my ukemi in the air, so I've did my air recovery. I'm now landing and if I land, I'll be ready to fight. Let me hit that, let me get ready for a smash attack because that's really going to hit him. But then I land and I just go, because I didn't sit there and hold it and let it go. This is one of those like tactile things that I would encourage everybody to just play it to understand what I'm talking about. Because I can describe it all day, but until you really get it in your hands and feel the reaction of what I'm talking about, you won't get it 100%. But I guarantee it, if you go and play, even just like 5 seconds of it, go into the first training match, you will go, this sucks. Especially somebody like Zero or Reeve who play Smash regularly, you will be like, this is not fun. Like I everything on paper says this should be fun, but this is decidedly not fun. The possible best thing I can say about this game, and Sakura actually brought it up here. Sakura says, not even Ultra Instinct Shaggy can save the game. And that's sort of like we were talking about, credit where credit is due. The one thing I think I liked from this game was the presentation of it all. For example, like we're looking at the screenshot of Raven right here. One, they gave her an entirely new look, which I think is really cute. But so this level that they're on is Titan's Tower from the Teen Titans show, and you can see Jake back there, and then there's a pair of legs that belongs to Shaggy, but they are sitting on that big couch in Titan's Tower playing video games. And as you fight, they continue playing video games. But you can also see, like, what are those items that are sitting around the couch? Oh, look, there's Red X's mask. There's Steven Universe's guitar. There's a Darkseid plushie. Just those tiny little details that make it seem like I'm a fan, right? Like that makes me feel like somebody over there was a fan, at least in the art department. Especially because, like, we also got really fun, like, I think a lot of the costumes were fun. And most of the like actual models of the characters were pretty decent. There are some of them that I think are just like really whack looking. Like I don't really like the Joker model. Not a big fan of how they do humans like Agent Smith. But there's still good stuff in here, right? Like I love this cute little costume for the Powerpuff Girls where they all get the mask. I think their model for Diana is one of the cutest, like most kawaii interpretations of her ever. Like she looks great. And then as I mentioned in the article itself, we got really cool costumes. This is the only time outside of I think like the Injustice mobile game where we can play as Black Lantern versions of Wonder Woman and Superman. Again, doesn't give them any new moves, but I'm a costume whore. I like seeing this. And then back to my point about like dedication, look at the sort of roster we're looking at here for Wonder Woman costumes. We have that standard one. Then we have her new 52 one. Then we have her classic golden armor, which you could probably make a debate whether that's supposed to be about 1984. But that armor came from the comics anyway, so I'm just skipping that entire travesty. And then you get Black Lantern. very like it rides that line between like obscure and relatively well known. And I really like that. I really admire that when studios will take that risk instead of doing something lame like here's her clown costume, here's her scuba diver costume, where it's like these are these? These have nothing to do with the character. So yeah, like it just wasn't a good game. It didn't feel fun to play. The economy was really, really bullshit. And I think even if collectively, like most people who are critics of this game, or even people who play this game, if they don't recognize it, I think their brains, I think their brains are recognizing like this feels gross because of all the like we just bought these IP. We didn't make this. This isn't us celebrating. This is us just trying to cash in. So I kind of saw this coming for a long time. I'm genuinely surprised we got this far. When they pulled, I don't know if anybody remembers, but last year they actually pulled the game down in the early half of the year because it was so, like, people were not playing it. People didn't like it. So they're like, we're going to retool it. And so they retooled it, and it lasted about not that much longer. It re-released in May. So like 7 to 8 months, like not that much longer. A couple last November during the last, not Ubisoft, Warner Brothers financial call, the CFO Gunnar Wenfels, he admitted that the company's studio segment, which includes their video games, movies, and TV, like all of their operations, that segment had struggled really hard that quarter, especially in comparison to the year before, which was when they released Barbie, which is like, don't do that. Don't do that to yourselves, like Warner Brothers. We all can recognize like that was like a big smash hit for you. Don't compare yourselves. It's okay. But during that investors call, Wenfels basically was like, yeah, studio segment is struggling. Most of that coming on the back of Multiversus. And I'm just like, that, when he said that in November, I was like, is this even going to last that much longer? Clearly didn't. Again, there was some interesting stuff here. Great costumes. Overall, a fun aesthetic. Really good costumes, but just not enough there to support this being a game, right? Like, maybe this would have had decent life if you made it like a gacha game. And, of course, it wouldn't be a fighting game, but then, make it like Fate or make it like Granblue, and you just unlock WB characters. That probably would have kept normies hooked for way longer than a fighting game thing is. So, I don't know. Back to the drawing board, Warner Brothers. That's really all I have. It is not going well for Warner Brothers right now. Mortal Kombat 1 didn't do hot. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. We know how that turned out. Multiversus is not working out for them. They have literally one chance left. If Hogwarts Legacy 2 does not deliver for Warner Brothers, that company is done. At least in the video game sense. Maybe they'll hold on to like one studio or something, or maybe they'll start publishing. But Warner Brothers Games as an entity will, if Hogwarts doesn't do good, it's fucking gone. It's just bye-bye. Sakura says, seeing this, Warner might make a game die as fast as Concord. Not even, my friend. Sakura, remember everyone, Concord was up for 2 weeks. And that's even me, rounding up. It was only technically up for, 12 days. So that is currently a record for a multiplayer, free-to-play microtransaction game. It is, or that one wasn't even free-to-play. Let me take that back. That's just a record in general for a live service video game to be released, shut down in 12. This game, at the very least, we can credit it for it. It came out that first time. They said, okay, nobody likes it. To their credit, they said, we're pulling it down. We're going to go back to the drawing board. I will always give credit to people who recognize their mistakes, even if, and try to correct them. Even if they don't correct it, great. Like we're seeing with Multiversus, I can at least give you, kudos for you saw there was a problem and you're trying. maybe the devs, their next game will be a banger. But this one, like, it was just one of those where it's like, you tried. When you try your best and you don't succeed. But yeah, so like they retried, like they they took it back to the drawing board. They tried to make it better. They released it and it still lasted 8 months. And you know, it's still technically not dead. I guess if it closes in May 30th, then that means it did have a full year of life in 2.0. So at the very least, we're never, I don't know, guys, if we're ever going to see another Concord level event. This is like that, and it is now like it's got the same infamy as like the ET Atari stuff. Like that's how disastrous that game was. So you can tell all your grandkids. I was there when I saw the hopefully you can say this, but like I was there for the moment the video game industry tipped over the edge and it started crashing and we got back to better games. There you go, Volume Dealer. Like that, those are the ones that you know, I grew up on. Not so much Tekken, but the Marvel vs. Capcom, the X-Men fighters, the King of Fighters, the Darkstalkers. I really like I'm more of a fan of the flashier, more fantastical games. So your fighters, your Street Fighter Alphas, your Marvel vs. Capcoms. I like watching Tekken and like Virtua Fighter. I can admit I'm dog shit at those. Like I don't know what it is. I can never get a grip on Tekken. I can get okay with Virtua Fighter, but then like I don't play and I lose it all. But I'm so bad with Tekken. And I want to be good. Tekken's got some great waifus, but I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good. And I'm still mad, Volume Dealer. I don't remember who else knows this, but actually like a decade ago, Bandai Namco, I guess probably just Namco at that point, Namco and Capcom teamed up for 2 crossover games, Street Fighter Cross Tekken and then Tekken Cross Street Fighter. And the idea was Street Fighter Cross, like each game would have like the characters from their other series, but then present them in the gameplay of that one. So like Street Fighter Cross Tekken would have that, you know, singular plane 2D style fighting, and then the Tekken Cross Street Fighter would have the Tekken style fighting. They got the Street Fighter one out, and then the Tekken one just like evaporated. They never got to it. And I was so mad about that because, so first of all, I was at the announcement for that. They did that at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was in the Capcom, or like the fighting game Capcom panel, which was in one of the way smaller rooms all the way in the back of the convention center. It was crazy. That's how how low key these things used to be. But Katsuhiro, like Harada comes out in like a formal Japanese gi, and he's like he's got a dude like blaring heavy rock music on a boombox behind him, and he's tossing out copies of like I think Tekken Tag 2 into the crowd. And then they get to the front and he announces it, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I even have a picture from that panel of me and one of my best friends doing the Hadouken pose with Yoshi Ono of Street Fighter fame. But more to the point, I was in that panel. I was super excited, especially because it was one of those opportunities where I'm like, one, in the Street Fighter game, I'll be able to interact with a lot of the Tekken characters I know in a way that I am familiar with. So I can get more familiar with the characters because I do like them. And then in the Tekken one, I was like, this way, I can get more familiar with the Tekken gameplay style. I'll just pick Chun-Li or whatever, like my favorite Street Fighter character. Like, perfect. It's going to be the perfect soup. And it just never happened. So, like, I'm still so salty that we never got it. I'm so salty. Volume Dealer says, we used to have that kaiju fighting game in our comic. I know, fuck. It wasn't Primal Rage, right? I like that one a lot. The one with like the ancient dinosaurs. So you have like the red T-Rex with like the white hair and stuff. And like the King Kong. I like that one a lot. I want them to bring that back. I want them to bring back Bloody Roar. The one where it was like human fighters and then they could transform into like half animal hybrids. That shit was awesome. And I can't believe we haven't gotten a new one since like, I think early PS2. So like 2003. It's pretty bad. Reeve says, they never added the Animaniacs, did they? No, they did Powerpuff Girls instead. That was their trio of fighters. Although now that you mention it, like, if it went longer, I bet they would have just built on that mechanic of 3 fighters to do the Animaniacs. Because I guess it's not even building on that. It's just the fucking Pokemon trainer. What am I talking about? Either way, probably would have come a little later. But yeah, we didn't get them before the game shuts down. So what was I gonna say? Yeah, Shinkai says, I'm bad at fighters, but just love seeing the flashy moves and going ham on the controller. I feel that way about Guilty Gear. I'm also very bad at Guilty Gear, but I love watching everything that happens in a Guilty Gear game. Yeah, Reef says, I guess it lives on with Akuma in Tekken 7. Yeah, it does slightly. Like, I don't think there was any necessarily, like, bad blood that happened between them, so I'm pretty sure, like, Namco and Harada are probably still on really good terms with the Street Fighter team and Capcom in general. It's just still like, at least tell me it's dead. You know what I mean? I think that hurt, like that sucks even more. Because, so there's that game and the other game that I will never, ever, 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 ever get over. Like, even if it comes out and it's amazing, I'm still never going to get over it. StarCraft Ghost. I was so fucking excited for StarCraft Ghost. We've talked about this here before. Third-person action games. That is my shit. Then you throw in sci-fi setting. Also my shit. Then you throw in attractive blonde lady. You might as well just put me in the grave because you've hit every, like, one of my weak points. And it was in development for a long time. It got, like, a big old spread in Game Informer. It had a display at Comic-Con. And then it just never happened. And I just want somebody to come out and be like, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. And even if you want to give me like a very non-specific answer, just be like, yeah, we're not doing any more, budget ran out. Yeah, we're not doing anything more, time ran out. Even if that's 10% true, just tell me something instead of having me wait for like 5 years through high school for any news. But yeah, I maybe it'll happen in the future. I don't know. The Akuma showing up in Tekken 7 was pretty cool, but I want to use Chun-Li. I want to use Sakura. I want to use Ken. I want to use Cammy. I want my homies. Yeah, Volume Dealer says Tekken had some awesome chain combo challenges. I could do King and the Panda. I love those. In fighting games, I love the challenge modes that sort of teach you more moves and combos. I love watching the Tekken combos, kind of like Volume Dealer, or not Volume Dealer, Shinkai was saying a second ago. I love watching the fights and the combos there. The thing with Tekken is that it is so fundamentally different than most other fighting games that unless I sit down and I lab and I really dedicate myself to it for like a few hours, my brain has a hard time like remembering, oh, you don't need to like jump and like do all of that, and you got to like be limb independent. So it's a hard click over for me. Maybe because I'm retarded. Let's see. Tehillim says, some really good news today. I officially picked up my first couple of Dragon Ball characters, Daima, Goku, and Vegeta. What do you mean? Do you mean as like figures? Do you mean as like Dragon Ball Fusion decks? Do you mean Figu Arts? There's so many of them. Either way, I'm excited for you. But yeah, I want to know which ones you got. King of the Monsters, that's what it was. Yes, the 19... Okay, yeah. That's the one. You're right. I forgot about that one, dude. Reeve, I like legitimately forgot about that. I don't even know what to say. Like, Mega Man Legends 3 destroyed my soul. Like, there was probably a part, like the last part of my childhood innocence died when that, like, failed to come to fruition. Because we got the announcement, and then they said, we're developing it, and then they even released, like, oh, we want you guys to vote on, like, which waifu you want to be the new, like, role. And then I'll never forget when they said, we don't have a lot of developers, so if the fans really want it, we're giving it to you. Help us develop it. And I just went, what? What? Like, that's not our, like, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, one, it's not our job. Two, even if somebody was going to go out and do that work for you, at the very least, you should go, if we like your work, we'll pay you. Don't just be like, oh yeah, just make this shit. Like, that was Capcom's Dark Era, but I will, like, that to me is on par with, you all have phones, don't you? From Diablo Immortal. Like, it was just so absolutely tone deaf, so like fuck you to the customer. Still angry. And I'm still angry that Red Ash demo with that was supposed to be like the tech demo for Mega Man Legends 3, that still hasn't leaked anywhere. Like, it's still not out on the internet, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to play it. Nice. Yes, Tim got him his figures. They made a... Let me see if it's actually still up, because I actually laughed really hard at it. They just made... yeah, there he is. This awesome Daima Super Saiyan 3 figure art Vegeta. Like, he's adorable. I love him. And yeah, like, I'm definitely going to grab him. He's going to be super cheap, but I just thought that was funny. What is this guy? This guy's cool. Chinese Zodiac Gundam. Oh, that's pretty neat. I like that. Snake with some gotchard colors, if you will. Oh, there we go. There's the full illustration. That thing's cool. Oh, he has like a snake chest. I didn't realize that. That's way cooler. Oh, you can get him like in all gold. I'm not going to buy him, but that's still just like really pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Shinkai says, feel the same about Steambot Chronicles. Seeing the trailer for 2 makes me sad. You haven't brought that up in a while. I know when you were first hanging out with us here, you were like always bringing up Steambot Chronicles. And I'm not saying you should have stopped, or like I liked it. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, Steambot Chronicles. You always reminded me. But I guess there just hasn't been a spot for it lately. But yes, that's great. Sorry, I just saw like a tweet from Capcom about their like fighting pass or something. I don't know. It's something stupid about Final Fantasy VI. I don't care. Don't play that game. But then Zero says, Mega Man Legends 3 being canceled was when I was sure that Capcom was trying to kill the company in 2011. I didn't as much as we want to, try and find reasons for like why our favorite stuff goes to hell, I rarely think anybody is ever trying to go out and intentionally sink whatever endeavor they're a part of. I don't think Kevin Feige went out there and tried to make the MCU garbage. I don't think Iger and Chapek tried, it wasn't their goal when they came back or when they were in their CEO spots of Disney to make it dog shit. People just make really bad decisions a lot, and oftentimes those decisions, we can sit here and go, that's going to have a really, really bad effect on what's going forward. That's what happened here, because this was that era where I believe it was actually, speaking of, as Zero brings up, speaking of Inafune, like in 2006, 2005, he made this big push for Capcom to start emulating the like Western developers and really trying to, get on the good side of Western like gamers. And so that's why you started seeing titles like RE6, which kind of throws out our traditional formula of RE and makes it into this weird quick time event action game. That's where you started seeing Dark Void, which really actually plays really fun, and it was a great concept. That's the jetpack game, if you guys don't remember. Here, I'll pull up the box art. I'm sure the box art will like jog some memories. There we go. There's Dark Void. Can I get that alone? Oh my god, if I want to like whatever. But yeah, Dark Void, that came out, and then then there was like this Mega Man Legends 3 debacle. So it was less like, oh, I'm going to take down the company, and more they started chasing the wrong, like they went down the wrong path, like really, really hard, and everything started crumbling. They're recovering now. Like, people might have their problems with Capcom still. I do, but let's like look at things like Mayan Street Fighter 6. Let's look at things like what's her name, the new Hunter assistant in Monster Hunter Wilds. Look at they did something that was really cool recently that I like am completely blanking on for some reason. Either way, they're getting better, right? So yeah, it was just they went down the wrong path, and they needed to go, all right, we're going on a different path now, or changing course, and luckily they did it in enough of a time to make sure Capcom didn't implode. Let's see. Corey, off to bed, got work tomorrow. Take it easy, my friend. Always a pleasure to be hanging out with you every Friday. Don't worry, we are running up to the end point of the show anyway. We'll probably hang out for another 15, 20 minutes. That's when we'll hit the 2.5 hour mark, which is what you guys know. That's what YouTube particularly likes for my streams. I don't know why. Every time I hit in that, like, within the 10-minute range of like 2 hours and 20 minutes to 2 hours and 40 minutes, those are the streams that they love pushing out there. But yes, off to bed. I'm sure I will talk to you later this weekend, Corey. Always a pleasure. Get some fucking rest. Like, I think about your job and I get tired. Shinkai says, would bring it up more if my... oh, wait. Shoot, I don't think I saw this. Frickin' Punk says he's also out of here. Adios, Punk. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Definitely got to hop on reading Psylocke, and I will let you know how West Coast Avenger turns out. So back to Shinkai says, LOL, would bring it up more often if my PS2 and disc for Steambot Chronicles still worked. Not sure if I still have it. Do recall trying it at a friend's house, and the disc was unreadable. That always just sort of happens with those old games. Like, physical media has its downsides. I can admit that. But I would just say emulate it. It's really easy, and like, your system can probably handle it. I am of the philosophy that, like, if your game is like 30 years old and you're not selling it anymore, fuck you. Then it's up for grabs, right? Because at that point, if Shinkai and I wanted to go get a Steambot Chronicles, we'd be going to either eBay, which is like a third-party seller, or to like a used game store, which is also a third-party seller. So these dumbasses aren't getting my money anyway. Piracy! We could have a whole stream on that if people really wanted my thoughts. But that's no time here at the end of, or near the end of our stream. Sakura says, not gonna lie, I want a Shonen Jump versus Capcom fighting game. I do too. I've in general just wanted a good, like, one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but like 2D on a plane, like anime crossover fighter, right? Like, even if you just want to copy fighters, to like just give it to ArcSys and say, ArcSys, reskin this shit, and you have teams of 3 different anime characters. That is what I feel like it would be so cool. I bring the game up a lot, but that game, Jump Ultimate Stars, actually, it's kind of relevant to all of our discussions. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this up, and we're going to let that be our visual while we hang out here. Let's see. I don't want I don't want your stupid YouTube essays. I just need gameplay. Fuck it. This is all the special moves. Let's start with a character I actually care about. We'll go with Gintoki. So, like this game, what I was saying, or let me restart. I mentioned that this is relevant to what we're talking about because this game is also a Smash Brothers style game. But reinforcing what I said, it's all Shonen Jump stuff that they publish, that they've curated and developed. It's not them going out and acquiring a bunch of IP and going, look, aren't we great? But more to the point, this game is like a fantastic, like, I love this game. I was obsessed with this game in high school. I bought this, so I don't know who remembers it, but there used to be a store chain called Fry's Electronics here in the US. They were really, really big. They were most noted for their locations were all super huge, and they all had crazy themes. Like, there was one in LA that was themed after, like, the moon landing and aliens. So when you walked up to, like, the storefront, there was a giant, like, life-size UFO flying saucer smashed into, like, or, like, looks like it was smashed into the side of the building, right? But the one in my hometown, I don't know if this was universal or if this was just because I happened to be in California in a particularly immigrant heavy, like Asian immigrant Asian immigrant heavy area. But my Fry's Electronics would get import games like this, like straight Japanese titles. Don't know how they got them. Don't know where they were getting them from, but just straight up like off the boat Japanese games. So like I bought this there, I bought a couple Bleach games there. It was crazy. It was a weird time. And then in like 2008, out of nowhere, I don't know what happened, but they stopped doing it, and it made me very, very upset because it was cool. I was like, this is like my secret. I don't have to pay an importer. I can just go, a couple blocks down to my Fry's and grab whatever Japanese game I'm looking for. But and yeah, so to that point, what I was trying to say is that I raw dogged this game. Like I played this in Japanese, raw dog. Second game I've ever really raw dogged. I've raw dogged 2 Japanese games in my life to completion. And this sounds so sexual, and I don't mean it that way. But this game and Mega Man Battle Network 1, I like forced myself to get through just by like brute forcing because it was all in Japanese. But more to the main point of what I'm trying to say is that this to me is like the prototype, right? You have a 2D plane with all these different anime characters who, even though you're respecting their individual styles, you can see that there's a consistent art aesthetic to the way they're portrayed. You don't lose who they are. You still know like you're fighting Dio compared to Goku, but it doesn't look one-to-one with the comics, which I think really helps bring everybody into this collective universe. And check that out, Josh. Your ass. I see you in here after like being absent and away and not answering my messages for like 8 days. But check out Seiya. Even Seiya's in this game. So more to your so all of this to say, Sakura, is that I really agree with you. I feel like they're leaving money on the table by not making a fighting game like this because like I hate arena fighters, man. There are some that are fun, but 99 out of 100 times an arena fighter is going to just be super lazy. Like it just won't. It'll have some characters. It'll be a fine experience, right? You won't necessarily hate it, but you'll be like, that was not the all-in game I wanted. There are some exceptions. Like, I really like the, Xenoverse 2. I think that really works. You could technically count Kakarot as an arena fighter if you really wanted to. So it can work, but I'm just not a fan of them just relying on that as the default for everything. And I feel like there's a big cultural moment to be like capitalized on if you brought actual dedicated like anime licensed stuff into the fighting game community proper. Like if you started having like, we're gonna have our main, our top 4 for shonen strikers. That's our fake game, right? Sakura, shonen strikers. The top 4, you're gonna have Naruto and Goku and Ichigo, and then somebody, your really random out of nowhere player, somebody's playing Chopper. Fucking random, but let's go. And like you would have people losing their minds seeing like anime fighting up on like a big screen, especially because look at how often people fight just about their favorite characters online in power scaling discussions, or like my character could beat that. It would. The reason I say specifically like it's a cultural thing to capitalize on is because I can't verbalize how like there would be so much unconscious like excitement from people who are anime fans, who are fighting game fans. Like it would just be this perfect storm of like, they're giving me what I really enjoy, so I really want to go and dive into it because they're really, looking out for me. Somebody mentioned it, and I don't know where that comment went, but Tatsunoko versus Capcom. I thought that was a really, really, I thought that was so out of left field, but it ended up working, so like I have to give it to them. I'll admit, I saw the announcement back in the day, and I was like, does anybody even know Tatsunoko shows? Like, even I only know like 2 of them, but the game was amazing. We got Mega Man Volnut as a fighter in it. Like, how could I not love it? But then, it also really handled the Tatsunoko characters well and brought them to like, more prominent attention. It was a great game, and I think just go that route. Even if, whether it is like Sakura says here, where it's a crossover game with Capcom, or just an all Shonen Jump fighter. I think there's a lot you can do here with this, and I just wish they weren't leaving it on the table. Also, someday, once I get that gaming stream set up, or like the gaming layout set up, we're definitely playing this, guys. Because like I've been wanting to replay this for years. I played this back in 2008, 7, 9, like around then. So I was still getting back into like, or like learning more about more like Shonen Jump anime. You know, I spent my childhood on Dragon Ball, Gundam, and then like a lot of the popular stuff from the 80s. So things like Ranma, Fist of the North Star, Gundam, obviously. And that was because I had cousins who would record shit over in the Philippines and bring them over here when they came to visit. And that's how I watched a lot of that stuff. So I wasn't wholly familiar with like the Shonen Jump roster at that time. And now I am. So I would really be interested to see sort of my, how much I'm going to soy face and be like, oh shit, I know that. Like when we finally play this game. Let's see. Oh, Zero! I totally forgot. That was the one that was I was forgetting. Mega Man Legends 3 was like the tip of the iceberg. DMC reboot RE6. People getting sick of the SF4 milking. The DMC I knew there was one other like westernized Capcom game that I was totally forgetting from this period. That's what it was. And yeah, see, they tried too hard to go like, what do Western people want? They want this, and we don't want that. We want your stuff. Like we this is sort of the philosophy we talk about with anytime somebody says like, oh, yeah, there are a lot of women read comic books, but they would read comic books a lot more if it there were more romance or there were more talking scenes or whatever. And it's like, no, you dipshit. The thing is, like, that might get people who don't care, but the people who care, they like it for what it is. Female fans of anime and manga, they love those mangas and anime for what they are. They don't go, rarely, exceedingly rarely, do they go in going, I like this, but I'm only going to stay dedicated to this if I can change it to what I want. Yes, it happens and they're loonies, but they're outliers and they shouldn't be, listened to at all. But yeah, so it's like, we don't want westernized DMC. We want DMC. We want Bing Bing Wahoo Crazy Pizza Man. No, see, Zero, I think this is another one of those cases where I think you're just blackpilling, because Zero says recovering, and I said earlier Capcom was recovering to a better spot. Capcom might be diving back into the same situation in 2011 if we go by what was done in SF6 RE4 Remake. So here's the thing. What are you complaining about? And then, even more so, those are two games. And they've been handling everything else really, really, really well. Yes, there are some slip-ups, right? Ada has a bad voice actor. Some of the models look kind of whack in SF6. But overall, like, they put Cammy's original suit in the game with, like, hyper-defined butts and a hyper-defined six-pack. You wouldn't have seen that in SF5 or 4. They just added Mai in the sexiest possible outfit I think I could ever imagine. Like, I am not kidding, guys. A girl wearing, like, a light tank top or a big t-shirt and then, like, gym shorts, I will lose my fucking mind. So now that Mai does that, it makes me hard to cover anything about her. But this is what I'm talking about, Zero. We can't expect anybody to just automatically tomorrow, like, they go, oh, we're done with that, now we're back to whatever, we're perfect. We need to give them time to recover, to get better, to relearn things. And I would say what I'm seeing out of Capcom is that they are learning. They're getting back to remembering what we want, as fans. We can all have our criticisms, even like my favorite things in the world, things like One Piece or Kamen Rider. I have big, criticisms about that stuff. But that doesn't mean I go, oh yeah, it's in the worst state of its entire life, especially when I see improvements happening. Sort of like, I adhere really strongly to something I've termed, and I'm sure other people have names for it, but I call it the fat person at the gym philosophy, which is, if if there's a fat person and, people are like making fun of them, don't do that. Like, this is, side note, like, I'm fucking done with I'm gonna be an intentional asshole to try and, either score points or because I think it's funny. Like, I'm fucking tired of this and I'm no longer entertaining it. So if you are out there going like, oh, I intentionally trolled you, ha ha, I'm like, I don't want to associate with you. Not to get too political, but I'm sure we all saw earlier this week there was a bishop or like a cardinal or not a card like a priest, right? Like a Catholic priest who was giving some speech at a conservative event, and he ended it by doing like imitating what Elon did during his appearance at the like inauguration ball, whatever it was. Now, I don't think Elon intended it for it to be a Nazi salute. By the way, guys, anybody who says anything about a Roman salute, that's not real. Roman salutes weren't a real thing. They were added in art. They never actually did them. But that, like, more to my point, you know, I don't think Elon was intentionally trying to do that. I think he made a bad move. We've all made really awkward, you know, gestures or comments at times. But if you're going out afterwards and you're doing that intentionally, like, you know what you're doing. And so, like, he does that and he gets, like, you know, kicked out of his church and they're like, don't do this anymore. But you see everybody, like, in his replies, even those, like, dudes over at Fandom Pulse going like, why are you attacking him? Wow, why do you guys don't get jokes? You don't get trolling? It's like, dude, if you're going to be that intentional of an asshole, fuck you. Like, that's not a joke. Like, you're just being an asshole. And we need, like, decorum to come back to, like, America or society in general. And doing this shit and justifying it by like, oh, if they did it, I can do it. That's fucking child logic. Grow up. It's called, you know, setting an example, being the bigger person, leading by example, not throwing a fucking hissy fit and existing simply to own the libs or own the chuds. Like, I'm done with that shit. But I don't even know where I was going with that point. But oh yeah, fat person at the gym. That's my philosophy. So, you know, if, you know, people will see fat people and they'll make fun of them. And some, you know, if that person, or how do I explain it? I have a better explanation for it that I give, like, in real life, and I don't know why I'm like stuttering on it. So, like, if you go to the gym and there's a fat person working out there, some people might make fun of them and go, wow, look at that fatty. Like, haha, look at him on the treadmill. Haha, look at him trying to lift 5-pound weights. I would never do that to anybody who was in the gym because I know they're bettering themselves. He's at least putting in effort. He's trying. Maybe he's not. Yeah, maybe this is his second day. But you know what? He's at least trying. And if I want to see, you know, if I want to support him, if I would like to encourage more people to be healthy and take care of themselves, then I should, you know, give proper understanding and proper respect to somebody who is trying to do that. Instead of just going, oh, you're still fat? Fuck you. I don't care if you're trying to get better. Talk to me when you're skinny. Because at that point, people are going to go, what? All right, there's no point. Like, that sucks. Because that also is an ever-moving goalpost, right? Oh, talk to me when you're skinny. Oh, you're skinny? Talk to me when you're fucking ripped. Oh, you're fucking ripped? Talk to me when you can, you know, do like when you can shoulder press 300 pounds. Oh, you can do it all. It will always keep going. So to the point we're talking about with Dozer here, like, yes, they've stumbled and they still continue to stumble, but I'm not going to go, yeah, you guys are still that same shitty company when I see them actively trying to reverse course or get better. And again, remember, these are big companies. It's not one person. There's not one Mr. Capcom who's making this decision. There are probably devs in there who really disagreed with the direction they've been in the last few years. There's probably devs who really agree with the direction they were in the last few years. But sort of, again, throwing the baby out with the bathwater doesn't really help anybody in any of these discussions. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Zero. Anything older than the Wii U is fair game to pirate. Let's see. Your messages aren't hidden. We're on Discord. You don't. Your messages would come directly to me, you jerk. Let's see. Banana hair Ken. Yeah, I know it's bad too, but like, I liked Ken's SF5 look, minus the hair, right? Like I kind of liked his just like his general outfit. Yeah, like the black like compression shirt with the like the red pants. I thought that worked. Oh yeah, time to heat things up. Like I liked this look for him. I am genuinely kind of sad that they have fully moved on from it. Like, it's not even an extra costume in 6. Yeah, but Zero, that's the problem, is like, you can have your own personal feelings about it, but if you can't objectively go like, yes, I'm seeing improvement, or you know, give credit where credit is due, then, and I don't mean this like in a jerk way, like just in a matter of fact way, like at that point, your opinion in a discussion really isn't worth anything. Because if you're not going to be able to go, yeah, they did that right, okay, yeah, then you're just going to be that brick wall of like, nope, 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 I don't care. Hey, they did this, nope, nope, nope. Like you're even doing it here, where, you know, not even my Shiranu will make me touch that game. I mean, that's kind of what you've been arguing. Like, you want more of that, so now you're going, nope, I'm not going to do it, nope, 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 nope. And it's just like, okay, then from here on out, I don't care what you have to say about, like, Street Fighter, right? Like, as Capcom, okay, no matter what I do, this type of player is never going to be happy or even go, hey, I like that, so why should I ever try to appeal to them? Why should I ever listen to any of their critiques when they literally will not be satisfied with anything? So, like, again, you can like things or you can hate things, but you should also be aware that sometimes your opinion is just your opinion, and that's fine. You can have your opinion, but we also need to live in a collective reality. Let's see. Let's see. Josh says Cowboy Ken is the single worst thing done to Street Fighter. I don't even remember Cowboy Ken. Where was that? Cowboy Ken. Oh, that's not gonna give me anything. Is that in 6? Oh, that is his 6 look. See, I don't consider that Cowboy. I consider this Terry. Like he's just Terry Bogard. Like Mark of the, like, City of the Wolves Terry Bogard, not King of Fighters. Like, because Terry wears the same, like, his hair goes down, he drops the hat, it's like a brown jacket with a white, like, furry inside. So, like, when I saw this, I didn't go Cowboy. I went like, oh, that's fucking yeah, that's just Terry. Wham! I just want a good shot to end on. Whatever, that works. Street Fighter Duel has a Monster Hunter Ken collab. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid has a Chun-Li, Ryu, and Ken and Cammy crossover. It's actually pretty cool. Like they become Rangers and everything. Here, watch. Street Fighter Rangers. Oh, SF4 Ken. That's right. That's fucking right. But yeah, I don't remember. Were we talking about this last week? Like, I'm so mad that this game just sort of died out of nowhere because they were doing such cool stuff like this. Like, original Street Fighter Rangers for this damn game. Like, if they'd have had the chance to make, like, Battle for the Grid 2 and really polish this bad boy up, we could have been looking at something incredible in the future. But I don't know what happened. Like, there's just no explanation. I do not know what happened to the support for this game. Yes, Shinkai, that one was really bad. The Street Fighter Spy X Family collab, where it was just like, here's yours outfit for your create a character, but they, like, advertised it on Chun-Li. It was very, very disappointing. So again, like, these are things to be critical of, and, like, even here, Dozer, like, yeah, like, you can criticize the visuals. I think SF6 does have visual problems, but we also need to be able to go, like, that was ass. At least you did this, even if this was ass. Where is it all Ryu? Where's the, oh, there she is. I was like, I know Chunners is here. Yeah, Chun-Li got a pretty cool one. It also makes me sad that, like, the only figures for these guys are the Lightning Collection, like Hasbro Lightning Collection, because, like, they made them for collectors, but they're not that high quality. And for, like, $20 more, you can get a Figu Arts, and those are amazing quality. So that always kind of bummed me out. Someday I'll buy them when they're like $3, but until such time. Yeah, Zero's, yeah, you're right. Yeah, to be honest, Battle for the Grid was a pretty indie game. Also, the game was not talked about a lot. Like, I get it. Like, you're completely right, and I understand all of that, but It's what I was talking about earlier. Just tell me it's dead, like officially, instead of just like leaving. And then it was also confusing because they released a bunch of DLC like last year of like new fighters, new Zords, and then they just went dark, like just poof. So it was even more like, you guys came back to do what now? Look at that. It must be like a trend, right, Sakura, where with Power Rangers games, they just come back out of nowhere after a couple months, drop some a new release or some new DLC, and then they're out of here. Let's see. The look on SF6 is probably my fave look of Ken since the OG red one. Let's see. I don't remember. I barely played any Street Fighter 4 because that was the same era as like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I was like really, really dedicated to that. Oh, is it like in his arcade mode stuff? I don't know where this game is, Josh. I don't remember anything from this game. Is it his story mode? Oh, hey, wait a minute. Isn't this where we got... No, that's from the Street Fighter Alpha movie. There's a specific reaction image that Josh and I used with each other, and I was like, oh, it's from this movie, and it's like, oh, no, it's not. It's from something else. But, let's see. Yeah, so this is probably a good one right here to start wrapping up, like, officially. Oh my, why isn't it popping up? Sakura asks, before we wrap up, do you play Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super Nintendo? I don't actively play it anymore, but it was one of those ones that I used to play a lot. Like, it was probably like that, the X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then Marvel versus Capcom, that when I was like an adolescent, I just dug all of my time into. And you can see where like that love of like the brighter, flashier, animation visual style came from, right? Because that's what defines all of those. I even like the EX Alpha games, even though I know those aren't good, but I like seeing them like when they're included in a collection or whatever. But I would play it more if... Here's the problem. I like a lot of those old fighters, but there's no community to support them. So I know that if I spent a lot of time getting really good at it, I would go, all right, nobody to play against. Great use of my time. So it's like, I play a lot of the old ones still, like casually, just on my own. But if you're talking like actual sit down and lab, then not a lot of the old ones. All right, Josh, let's see. Cowboy Ken SF4. Oh, that's right. Okay. I remember now. This is the problem when you put like 400 DLCs everywhere. Like, you forget where anything comes from. Oh, look at this, Josh. They made an actual hat. Like, actual Cowboy Ken hat. So, yeah, that's pretty hilarious. I'm not going to lie. It looks so dumb. I kind of am a fan of that. Yeah, I know Fightcade exists. I just don't like dealing with Fightcade. Like, it's a great service. I just don't feel like dealing with it. It's just one of those things. I'm being a nitpicker. I get it. I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, Street Fighter Alpha 2 on SNES is the Doom on SNES of fighting games. Yeah, but I still liked it. Josh says, Street Fighter Anniversary Collection for the win. Arcade versions of Alpha 1, 2, and 3. Absolute treat, though I prefer the SNES OST for Alpha 2. I love that Anniversary Collection so much. It's one of the very few that I, like, have bought and like, enjoyed, right? Like, I guess I buy a lot of Capcom collections, huh, Josh? It's like Mega Man, Street Fighter, Darkstalkers. I have a type, it looks like, right? Like, this doesn't come as a surprise to anybody, I'm sure. But, yeah, so I don't even know where we were all really going with this line of discussion, like why we were on Street Fighter in the first place. But, oh, dude, it's like 15 Street Fighter games, and all of them are highly customizable, like for like what settings. It's so good. Just go grab it. Like, what are you guys even doing here listening to me? Go grab that and then come back. Yes, Zero. I'm glad you mentioned that. The Alpha 3 version for PSP, pardon me, I loved that version. I did not like using my PSP for fighting games because I knew that the controls weren't right. But I forced myself to play that PSP version because it just felt better overall. it probably would have felt way better without like the PSP nub, but alas, we don't live in that future, sadly. But we do live in the future where we are already like 15, 20 minutes past our normal end time. So in the interest of this being Friday, of me not wanting to keep you guys for too long, let's get out of here. I'll let you all go. Go enjoy your weekends. As always, guys, remember, things are rough, in entertainment, in politics, in the world, in society. I hear that. My heart goes out to everybody. But always remember that there are good things. You can always look for, things to enjoy or be happy towards. And I hope that this show, that's why I run it. I want to kick off your weekends on a good note, on a positive note. Hopefully give you guys some laughs, give you guys some community. Maybe, bring up some media that you hadn't heard about in a long time or ever. And maybe that's what you check out this weekend. So all in all, thanks for hanging out with me on another episode of Good, the Mad, the Ugly. To absolutely everybody who stopped by, from Shinkai to Volume to Zero to oh my god, I'm so sad. I was like, I'm gonna get it all off the top of my head this time. Let me try again. So thank you to Shinkai and Volume Dealer and Zero and Sakura and Corey and Andrew and Josh and Sherry and did I say Corey already? We'll say Corey again. And Reeve and everybody else out there who I either forgot because I'm a big dum-dum, or you're out there in the ether and you're not chatting with us. Either way, I see you. I appreciate you. If it weren't for you guys watching, I wouldn't be able to hang out with you every weekend and kick it off right like this. So go out there, go have a good weekend, go relax. I do not have a clip for you guys here, but yeah, as always, if you want to see more of me, you can follow me down there on Twitter at Kabuto Rider Mav. You can hang out with me live, same Mav time, same Mav channel next week for another Good Mav Ugly. Or if you can't wait that long to see my handsome face, you can catch me on Wednesday nights over on the 01 stream at Bounding Into Comics at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then you can find me on Foil Variant at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays. You can also catch me around the horn in our sphere on places like That Game Place, Tooneytown TV, wherever. If it's one of our friends, if it's somebody around, you'll probably know where to find me. I'm probably in the chat. But yes, guys, have a great weekend. Loved hanging out with all of you. Maybe I'll see you soon. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. But thanks for hanging out. Love all of you. I will see you next week. And until I see you next time, take it easy.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him burned and
I don't even know who that guy is.